kicks off. Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy Monday. Canelo versus Jaime Munguia this weekend, and it's going to be a very good fight. I was doing a little bit of research on Jaime Munguia and just watching his latest performances. And I'm not saying that he can box like Bivol, but in his last fight against, that southpaw from the UK, Juan Ryder, Jaime Munguia had a lot of bounce to his step and fought like Bivol. A lot of bounce, in and out movement, 1-2. And if he's able to do that against Canelo, tying up his defense, and at times when he wants to fight Mexican style, dig to Canelo to the body, Jaime's got a good chance. You see, we talked about this, or I mentioned this previously, but Freddie Roach has experience going up against Canelo, and he fared off well when he had the 36 or 37-year-old at the time, Miguel Cotto, coming off momentum of beating Sergio Maravilla. Yeah, they met at 159 pounds, and though Canelo did win that fight, Cotto did outland Canelo, mainly with more jabs landed. But his punch resistance and his defense, I think Canelo was only able to hurt Miguel Cotto once. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that Jaime Munguia isn't as good as Miguel Cotto in terms of experience, right? But he does have youth, size, and power that Miguel Cotto didn't have over Canelo. Obviously, Jaime is not going to be necessarily bigger in terms of strength over Canelo, because Canelo has been at these higher weights before Jaime. But Jaime naturally is a taller and bigger man, bone density-wise, height, reach, arm length. Maybe Jaime, with Freddie Roach having a lot of experience together, Freddie Roach might just dial up an amazing and beautiful upsetting game plan and beat Canelo. I also want to preface this by saying if Triple G couldn't necessarily hurt or knock down Canelo, I don't expect Jaime Munguia to do so either. So in terms of betting for knockouts, that's not going to happen. Canelo is just that good. He's that strong. And I don't think Jaime is creative enough to really land flush shots on Canelo. But with straight punches and the performance that he had, if he's able to build upon that performance that he had with John Ryder and use that, again, I'm not saying that Jaime can be just as successful as Dimitri Bivol, but that's something that maybe Jaime can emulate in this fight that could allow him to win some rounds. And I don't know, bag 7 out of the 12 rounds and upset Canelo. So the odds for decision, plus 1,600, shit, put $50 on it to cash out 800. If the upset were to occur, that'd be pretty interesting, man. So obviously this undercard is going to be really good too. You have Mario Barrios coming off a lot of momentum with the Yordenis Ugas performance, and he's going to be fighting Marcos Maidana's brother, Fabian Maidana. I'm not too sure if Fabian Maidana is still training with Robert Garcia, but nevertheless, Fabian is okay. I haven't really heard or seen any of his big fights or if he's had any big fights, but it should be a really good undercard. You also have Diamante Staniones, and he's fighting, I think, a Colombian that he's faced in the amateurs before. The guy's like 10-0, but he's 37 years old. Diamante Staniones hasn't fought, I don't know, since the shenanigans with Vergil Ortiz like 2-3 years ago, since that Butayev fight. So it's going to be very interesting, man, to see how these fights shape out to be. But it's a pretty good undercard, a really good undercard. I did wish that Carmel Moulton was fighting on it, but I guess they pushed his date back to they pushed his fight. Give me a second. All right. It's not my problem. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Duty calls, duty calls. What was I talking about? Jaime Munguia, the undercard, Marcos Maidana, Carmel Moulton. Let me see who else is fighting on the undercard. Let's see. So yeah, that's pretty good betting odds right there for Jaime. I'll be rooting for him. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez, but with that being said, I do love me some underdogs. And some of the, I mean, Jaime is undefeated. So it's not like, you know, you could also say, well, Zurdo Ramirez was undefeated, and look how bewildered and out of shape and just horrible he looked against Bivol. That could happen to Jaime, you know? That could happen to Jaime. But with Freddie Roach, man, it's el orgullo when you have a trainer, ex-fighter as well, battling his own battle with Parkinson's. That gives you inspiration, extra motivation. So he's giving you instructions and shit. Man, I'll be rooting for him. So yeah, Mario Barros versus Fabian Andres Maidana, Brandon Figueroa versus Jesse Magdaleno, and then of course that'll probably be the co-main event. And then of course you got Jaime Munguia versus Alvarez. And then on Sunday, carrying over to Monday, you have Naoya Inoue versus Luis Neri. Woo! Plus 750, dog. Fucking Luis Neri, man. Obviously, if Brandon Figueroa was able to knock him down with some body shots, imagine what a pound-for-pound fighter like Luis Neri can do. Yeah, I get it. But still, you know, we can hope, man. We can hope. Let me see. The Mexican G. Happy Monday, bro. Tszyu ain't nothing. Ortiz is going to whoop him. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think you got to look at it like this, right? I like Vergil Ortiz. He's one of the fighters in the sport of boxing that has an undefeated KO ratio. 20 fights, 20 KOs. Kind of like Artur Beterbiev. But Artur Beterbiev has been doing it against champions, against other undefeated fighters. And Vergil Ortiz's resume, it's inflated. There's not one, honestly, like a respectable name there besides El Maestro Mauricio Herrera. That's it. Everybody else, they're not even on Jeff Horn's level. You can be like, well, what about Mean Machine? What about him? What has Mean Machine accomplished? Oh, knocking down Bud Crawford. That's it. Like, I like Vergil, but his career is almost ending before it begins. And he's been, even though he's fought twice this year, those aren't really fights. I mean, Tomás Dolorme, he's been removed from the sport 2 years ago. And on top of being removed from the sport 2 years ago, they were sparring mates. And it only lasted one round. Vergil is gaining no experience, no punch tolerance at the welterweight division. That's not a good look. One round is not enough. In the fight that he had on January, it only went like 1 minute. And then the ref prematurely stopped it. I don't know if it was against Brad Solomon. Let me see. Who did Vergil Ortiz fight in January? Let me see. On his bounce back fight, he fought Frederick Lawson, and Tony Weeks stopped it in like the first 30 seconds, right? Tony Weeks has had a horrible run lately, right? Alongside with that other black ref that fight against Ryan Garcia and Devin Harvey, Tony Weeks had he robbed Ismael Barroso versus the Rolly fight. That matters a lot because when you make fake champions like Rolly, they're in one-sided beatdowns and you risk their life when they fight real fucking dogs like Pitbull Cruz. I don't know if Vergil has that dog in him because A, he's not really fighting in any real weight classes. Like the last couple of fights have been like 157, 156, and 155. That's not even a real weight class. So that lets me know that long COVID that he's been having, rambiosis, where his muscles are deteriorating, that's not a good look against Tszyu. Tszyu is a straight beast. He's so good, right? And I look at Tszyu, even though he lost against Sebastian Fundora, you can say that Tszyu also won that fight because it could have gone either way. So you can look at, in another world, Tszyu as still an undefeated, unified fighter. Now, you could say that both of those titles that he won were vacant, but what he's been able to do in terms of pave his own career, right? The fact that he's willing to fight guys like Brian Mendoza, Sebastian Fundora, late night replacement, that dog mentality, I've yet to see Vergil Ortiz do any situation in his career that puts a high risk low reward situation. He's always been the favored. He's always fought smaller guys moving up. Where Tszyu, that's what a fucking animal or a beast looks like. A real fighter. That 20-0 wins with 20 KOs, it's very inflated. I don't feel confident in terms of Vergil Ortiz being able to beat Tszyu. Does he have the power? Does he have the punch selection? Does he have a world-class trainer? Yeah, he has all that. But I've also seen Vergil Ortiz get dropped by that same mean machine, dude. And I've never even seen Tszyu be extremely wobbled. Well, no, that's actually not true, huh? He has been wobbled. Like, he got dropped by when he had his first fight in America, not against Tony Harrison, but the other black fighter. What's his name? Terrell Gausha. He dropped him. But he instantly got back up. It was kind of like a stupid stuttering punch that hit him 1-2, and he's like, oh shit, I'm on the ground. But he was never really put on skates, and he was not really hurt in any of those fights. And ever since then, he's never been put onto that canvas. Where Vergil, one thing that I'll say about Vergil though, in that fight versus Mean Machine, when he did get hurt and wobbled, he went out on a shield and started throwing fucking bombs and haymakers. That's what I need to see more of Vergil, to be extremely confident that he can bang with the boys at 154 or 160 or whatever fight weight class that he's going to be contending at. But again, you got to respect Tszyu for what he's been doing in his career. It could be a one-sided beatdown, right? And if Vergil cuts down that extra pound or two and weighs in a little south of 154, I don't know how his body's going to react to that weight cut, to being on that sauna, and if that long COVID comes back, right? It's going to neutralize his immune system, his punch tolerance, and every pound, when you've already shedded 15 to 20 pounds, once you start getting down to that nitty-gritty fine line, that thin blue line, that measure of chaos and order, it starts to trim down, and it becomes fucking debilitating to cut. I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting. Yo, Whoop Speed, what's going on? Vince Vargas, man. Happy Monday, bro. I subscribed to DAZN since the Ryan Garcia fight. Do I need to pay for the pay-per-view, or does it come with the subscription? Yeah, brother. I think if you're talking about the Jaime Munguia versus Canelo Alvarez, you're going to have to pay additionally. So, like, let's say the fight's like $70. You already paid 25 or $30 for DAZN. I think you just have to pay the spread. So, like, an additional $40 to $50. I think that's how it is. I don't know. Speed knows more about the details because he's, like, a long-time subscriber of DAZN. So, he probably, like, get you up with that information. Vince Vargas goes, Ricky Parcel. Ricky Parcel sounds like a NASCAR driver. Yeah, I'm not. Who's Ricky Parcel? Am I missing something? Oh, okay. Let me see. Yeah, so it's really weird because when I pull up the comment section on my other video, on my other computer, a lot of these names don't pop up, but wait, okay, no, it's the same. Ricky Parcel. He's a football. Oh, Ricky Parcel. He's the Niner receiver that we got off the first round. That's right. Yeah. Oh, Drew's back on right here. Let's see. I subscribe. Okay.
Yeah, man. I've been trying to get on and explain myself. Ricky Career.
Man, what's going on, bro? You guys gotta let me know in the chat, because when I do this mirror screen where like I just put like boxing in the background, I don't have access to the comment section, so I have to like open up the channel on my other computer, and then I can run dual systems and I can see it. You know what I mean?
Nah, I'll let you like finish off what you got to say, and then I'll say like lobby and shit. But
I got you, bro. No, you good, man. I pretty much said everything that I was gonna say. If you guys weren't gonna hop on, I was gonna bounce, but that's it, man. What's going on with you, bro? What you got going on?
Nothing much, man.
What happened the other day, bro? That you came up huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I came up fat, man. Dude, like honestly, like there was a feeling, bro. Like I just had a random feeling. Like it wasn't random, but I had been thinking about that Marlon Esparza versus Alanis.
Before you get to the details, just in one sentence, what happened? What do you mean that I came up fat? What does that mean?
Oh yeah, I came up like I won $1,400 on a 4-leg parlay, put like $100 on that shit. So
Oh
it
shit.
took a lot of guts, to do that. But like I knew I was gonna bet $100, right? So that $100 I actually came up on off of $40, and I was actually building on it, right? Like I was like I had like 40 to $100 like for the past 2 weeks in the bank, in the little kitty, and I just got fed up. I just got fed up. I'm like, man, this shit, it's just going up and down. Like I was playing it safe, like and then I was just like, well, I'm gonna just put all this on this parlay, and yeah, man, I was just like, I was ecstatic, bro. Like, so that parlay, it had Vergil Ortiz
Yeah.
knockout, which was a minus 1,000, no brainer, and it was just his former sparring partner. Whether he was laying down for Virgil or whether he was in pain, I knew he was gonna get him out of there just because he was
Yeah.
coming from a different weight class.
Now that was a good
Um,
punch.
yeah, no, I seen Thomas Delorme's his not he had a nice jab. It's just more of a pain if he was pain tolerant, to those body shots. But yeah, no, that was an easy bet right there. Uh, so that happened. That was a co-main, and so the first bet, the one that was paying attention to actually it started first was the Marlon Esparza, and I had bet on Alanis decision.
Yeah.
Um, so I had,
So you
you
went
know,
for
I
La Chucky.
dude, I seen it. I seen the rematch, right? Because he got it on the zone, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, she's going off on her, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
then I was like, wow, like I can see why they're winning. And I was watching the lines and they were moving, dude. So Marlon Esparza was favored minus 125, right? And then for some reason, the uh, the decision the decision for Alanis was minus money. And I was like, what? Like something's not adding up. And then it flipped. It flipped. And then it became Alanis minus 130. And then it was confusing. Alanis plus 175. And I was like, what? That was just minus money right now. So I'm just like, wow, like I gotta take advantage of this. Like this is the I knew that was the hardest one in the 4 leg parlay. That I was like kind of wishing on the star. Because um, Esparza did her thing, man. Like she definitely pulled the Ryan Garcia, came in a little heavier, and I was thinking, man, it's not gonna work out for her. Like she's trying to do what Ryan Garcia did and not cut the weight and just so she can have energy to go round for round with punch for punch. I mean with Alanis, and because I knew Alanis was coming with some high punch volume, but I seen Marlon Esparza fight the right fight, and I was like, fuck, In my mind, I was like, fuck, man, she's about to win this. Like she's doing her thing, she's touching her up. But this is the thing, the first match was in San Antonio. That's her hometown,
Yeah.
and they actually had the judges actually had it a pitch out for Marlon Esparza, and the
Yeah.
first fight was actually the most convincing for Alanis. She actually deserved to win the first fight, but this fight was Esparza's. It was her fight to win. Like she was winning this, and she was getting touched though, but she wasn't getting rocked. She wasn't getting out of position, and I was like, man, she won this, right? And she won it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" They gave it to me, and then that's when I knew. That's when I knew. After that, it was the Oscar Duarte fight and Jojo Diaz fight, and I was like, I just gotta hit this one last hit, and I know I got it. I know I got it right, and I'm watching the JoJo fight, and I had watched JoJo's previous 3 fights. Like I got them in my memory bank, and I'm like, one what? I know this guy. This guy's gonna get. This guy's gonna. He's gonna get not knocked out, but like he's not gonna be able to take this Oscar Duarte's punches. Like he's at his second fight. There was this point of time in his career where he was fighting at 118, and I was like, what? This very first fight, and then
Yeah.
after that, I think 2 or 3 fights after that, he was a full fledged 140 pounder, and I was like, wow. So something happened during that time period frame. It was like 2013, 2015, where he gained all that weight, and I was like, okay, this is actually a full-fledged 140 pounder. Like Jojo Diaz is way too small for this weight class. He's
Yeah.
just way too small. And Jojo did a really good job. Honestly, like he did good, and he's just not meant for that weight class. But in my head, right before I'm making these bets, I'm like, dude, this is like the only. For some reason, I'm more confident that JoJo's gonna get knocked out than I am of JC Ramirez going the decision with Bartholomew. You know, and that actually happened the whole different way. But yeah, that fight, man, it was just a roller coaster yesterday, man. And watching Oscar Duarte like just kind of skim the knockout, I was like, man, like thank God, because honestly, I seen
Possible. It's
JoJo.
possible.
Yeah, it was possible for JoJo to actually keep going because he was taking the punches. It's just he was flying like 3 feet, 4 feet across the ring, you know. And he's a warrior though, but
Yeah.
he just needs to move back down. That's it. He's still a problem for those guys at the lower weights. Um, but yeah, and then the main event, JC Ramirez, probably the most emotional hour of the past, like this year for me. Like just watching that shit, I was like, just go the decision. I
He's
know
something.
JC. I was like, just go the decision. And I know JC Ramirez gonna got this because Bartholomew don't punch enough, you know. And I'm thinking like, damn, like JC Ramirez is going to coming in way too hot for me. And I was like, man, just slow down, you know, like take it round by round. He was trying to take him out, and I was like, fuck, nervous, right? And then boom, Bartholomew catches him, and I was like, oh my god. I was like that, bro. I was like, oh my god. I was like, don't do it, don't do it. And then he was out, bro. I could have sworn he was knocked out on his feet for a second. Um, and that just shows you Bartholomew, how good Bartholomew is because he's coming up in weight. You know, he just doesn't punch enough, bro. He just doesn't have I don't even know what it is, man. He just kind of doesn't have the courage to go punch for punch, you know. Even after he was hurting JC Ramirez. Um, but yeah, dude, I was like, okay, maybe that was the best thing that could have happened in this fight, right? Because JC Ramirez is no longer gonna come in hot. He's gonna take it easy because of that. I forget right or left hand from Bartholomew, and yeah, bro, I was like, yeah, almost got him out plenty of times, bro. I was like so fucking nervous, bro. And JC Ramirez like was hurt again, or no, JC Ramirez hurt Bartholomew in the 11th round, and I was like, shit. Though, so it was just a roller coaster, bro. Like once I seen 15 seconds, I was like, I got it. You know, like I fucking won this shit. Like, dude, it was the out of all those legs in that parlay that hit, this was the one that was like had my fucking, like I was sweating, bro. My back was sweating. I was like, shit, you know, like yeah. So I was nervous, bro. Like I got lucky with the Alanis fight though. I got lucky. I feel like Gabriela Esparza won that shit. She fought the right fight. And yeah, bro. I didn't know. Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, if you look at the odds, it had Alanis minus 130. Like the last 5 minutes of the betting, window, it was it was minus 130. While that minus 130 for Alanis, at the same time, it was a plus 175 decision for Alanis, and a plus 110. So I was like, wow, like it was like, kind of hard to like tell him like what's going on. I gotta take advantage of this because this shit's like kind of flip floppy, like it's not matching. But bro, I'm on the roll, man. Like honestly, like I think next week I'm gonna make this parlay. I'm gonna do my studying because honestly, I did put in like an hour of fights. Like I was watching just the rematch of Alanis and Esparza. I watched it. That gave me a better idea of what was really going on because not only that, the commentary let me know that hey, this fight is in San Antonio, it can, like this is Esparza's home right now, so I wouldn't be shocked if she gets the decision. And and then I was like, well, okay, like that's a big deal, and I just feel like even with or without the Texas judges, I think Esparza should have won, in this fight. This was her best fight, but hey, I won $1,400, bro. Like I think yeah, I think yeah, I got lucky, man. I'm next week I'm definitely gonna cook something up, like it's the $1,000 parlays that get me going,
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just to recap what he was saying, uh,
Cool.
what Drew was saying, no, just to
Oh,
people.
oh, oh.
So Drew put $100 like on a 5 or 6 fight parlay, and he won it, cashing out 1,400. He
A
started
four.
off with Alanis to beat Marlon Esparza. Then he went for a knockout of Oscar Duarte, who was knocked out by Ryan Garcia, to knock out Jojo Diaz. That happened. He put Vergil Ortiz to win by knockout. That happened. And then he finished off the night by Jose Ramirez beating Francis Barthelemy by decision. And he ended up taking that parlay, and he ended up taking $1,400 with him. So it was very detailed, very intricate, because a lot of these, I don't know for people that if you guys bet, but me and Drew like to bet, not amongst one another. We bet like on the websites because they give us better odds than 1-to-1 ratios. And yeah, man, you can turn a couple dollars into some major earnings and winnings. But nevertheless, man,
Yeah, bro.
yeah, man, just to recap a little bit about those fights, I thought Jojo Diaz was doing very good. I liked his movement. I like his slickness. I like his, making Duarte miss here and then trying to slip and counter with some shots. Except the problem is, even though when he did hit Duarte with some flush shots, to your point, yeah, he is smaller than all these guys. But this isn't Jojo Diaz's first time fighting up in these weight classes, it would be best for him to go down to 130 and fight guys like
And
Oscar Valdez. That's where I think he would
well,
become a champion.
and I think
135, these guys are still big, but I guess, I can see him giving Loma a good fight. But at 140, nah, bro, you're just too tiny and you don't hit hard enough. That
he's
power
going
doesn't
against tough.
like a Tank Davis.
He's going against tough opposition too, though. I think he needs to lower the
I mean,
opposition.
not really, bro. Like even when he fought El Camarón Zepeda, that was at 135, and Camarón threw 1,500 punches against him. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying Zepeda isn't tough opposition. What I'm trying to say is even at those two weight classes, Jojo ain't doing that good. In his last fight, it was a relatively close fight. I know Jojo was very disgruntled and displeased that Golden Boy gave. That's how he kind of phrased it. He was like, "Man, Golden Boy doing me dirty. They robbing me against this guy named Ricky Perez or some shit like that." But he's just not looking great at those weight classes. And I know that there's been a lot of stuff going on in his life, some stupid ass mistakes that he's been doing, talking to like underage chicks and stuff on social media and drinking and all this stuff. But yeah, bro, I just feel like with Jojo, 126 and 130, that's where you were actually competitive, where you could win. But even then, Jojo, he gets very timid. And I don't know when he stopped throwing a lot of punches. In all of his fights, he wants to only throw 30 punches per round. And you can get away with that if you hurt motherfuckers and like you have power. But when he fought Gary Russell at 126 or at 130 and he fought him in Maryland, he was very hesitant. And all he wanted to throw was a jab. And like, I don't know, bro, with Jojo, I just feel like, and he had a pretty good trainer. I mean, I like this trainer. His name, he on social media, he goes by Flaming Hot Mitts. And I like that guy's game plan and instruction. A lot of people are giving, Flaming Hot Mitts a lot of shit because he was like, nah, bro, you're not a good trainer, X, Y, and Z. But I thought he had a really good game plan for Jojo. The only biggest mistake that I didn't like from Jojo in that fight, he blocked a lot of Duarte's shots. They were still penetrating because, like you stated, he was still getting tossed 3 feet to the left, 3 right backwards, and whatever the case may be. But he started to raise his chin. Every time that he threw a punch, he would like lift himself, and rather than squat down. And there was a couple of like technical mistakes that they weren't correcting in that fight, where I think allowed JoJo to like start getting wobbled. But yeah, bro, Duarte, to his credit, he looked really good. He hired a more experienced trainer in Robert Garcia, and that's another thing that people have to take in consideration is Flaming Hot Mints is a pretty good trainer, but he's just not Hall of Fame worthy like Robert Garcia. Same thing when like you see a lot of like whoever is on your corner, right? That wisdom, that experience, like a Joel Diaz, Robert Garcia. There's a cool, calm demeanor about them that they can make adjustments in the fight. And that's the difference between a Hall of Fame trainer and guys that train and give people insight in terms of social media. They go about building brands differently. But I think that could have been a little bit of a downfall to JoJo. But I will say this. This is the best JoJo that I've seen in his last 3 fights, maybe 4 fights. So like, again, a lot of people want to give shit to Flaming Hot Mitts, but I thought he did a really good job reinvigorating JoJo. And like, I haven't seen JoJo look this good in a really long time. Yeah, it was his first fight that he was stopped. He's never been stopped before, but that's just a credit to Duarte and how good he actually is. You know, Henry Garcia, Ryan Garcia's father, said that, hey, man, Duarte's tougher than Devin Haney.
Yeah, he's tough.
Yes, I might have to say that.
Like, it was really the way he got stopped by Ryan Garcia didn't make it wasn't like Ryan Garcia, bro. Like, he just what it is he's just like his punch accuracy kind of sucks. So it like his footing is always kind of off. That allowed that when he's off balance like that, that allows dudes like Ryan Garcia to check him with a hook. And his footing was all fucked up, and he ended up walking into the corner, which made him look even more hurt when he's actually fucking tough. And he's just a straightforward fighter. Stylistically, it was perfect for Ryan. But I mean, Ryan was hesitant too against Oscar Duarte. He was like, shit, this guy got popped, you know, and he was hitting him with some good body shots. He just didn't want to get hit in the head.
Yeah, that was a very interesting fight. That's when Ryan Garcia started to do his taco shell. So, you know, taco shell defense, you know, trying to, you know, shoulder roll and things of that. But yeah, man, Adi Mehdi, I'm surprised Tank hasn't cherry picked JoJo. Yeah, man, like, I'm surprised. Yeah, I would say so too. You know, Tank. I would say this with Tank. Let's cherry pick a lot of people, but a lot of those people that he beats and knocks out, they don't give him enough credit. Like, for example, like Mario Barrios, that's a good fighter. You know, like imagine Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia. That'd be a good fight. Imagine, you know, Pedraza looked really good against Lomachenko, Zepeda, and all of these guys, Arnold Barboza, Jose Ramirez, but he looked like shit against Keyshawn Davis. But regardless, a lot of those fighters are pretty good on Tank's resume. But, you know, anyway, I don't want to talk about Tank, man. He's shout out to him, though, because he's fighting Frank Martin, and that's a good fight. I think Frank Martin could upset him. But,
yeah,
you know, that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
I know that you were talking about that you had to do it. You're going to be doing some research on next upcoming fights that are happening this Saturday between Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. But which one of those fights of the undercard, you know, are you most interested?
God, see, dude. So I'm not. I need to look at the undercard again because there's so many fights this month, bro. I had a couple of fights in mind, but some of them are actually on the like on Bivol undercards, and some like, you know, like I need to make sure, I need to double check, bro. Like I know I'm betting on Munguia. I'm at least gonna put in like at least $50 on like on Munguia or something. Like by shoot, honestly, bro, like I can see him stopping him on the stool, you know, like
Jaime Munguia can stop Canelo, bro?
I think it could happen because Canelo's just something tells me, bro, that Canelo's like just I think he'd rather lose to Munguia than a Benavidez type of shit. But
let me ask
I think
you, Whoa. All right, hold on. You said 2 crazy statements right there. You think Jaime Munguia can stop Canelo on the stool, and then second, you said that Canelo would be okay with losing to Jaime over David. What you mean by that?
because he's Mexican, bro. He's like, fuck it, I'll have my own countrymen beat me, type of shit. Like out of pettiness. I don't know. Like I was just kind of making that up, but like
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, are you trying to say that Canelo's gonna take a little easy on Hyman? You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I can say
nah.
this. I can see this fight being a draw. I think
Mm,
Hyman can throw a lot of punches and maybe try to win 5 or 6 rounds. And I think Golden Boy will try to put like the royal, stamp on this performance, kind of like how they always do with young fighters to make sure that even though one fighter did win, there's always going to be that crazy outlier judge that that gives Canelo the decision over Floyd Mayweather, or a Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia a draw. I can see Jaime being good enough to win 6 rounds against Canelo. It just really comes down to, Vince Vargas goes scripted. It could be, in the sense that any close decision or any close fight, Oscar De La Hoya does have a pull. Like he doesn't want his fighters to really get dominated, and especially Jaime. Jaime could be one of Golden Boy's biggest stars.
mm.
After Ryan Garcia, you can say it's probably Jaime Munguia. You can maybe add Zurdo. You can maybe add Camarón Zepeda. But with that record of almost being 50-0 and Jaime getting this opportunity, it would behoove Oscar and Golden Boy to, throw some underlying money to some of these judges and be like, look, I'll take care of you guys for the next 5 years, and then I'll have you guys ref some of my events and get you hotels and banquets and all of these food reserves and access. But hey, throw my boy Jaime a bone here and there.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about
think,
shit like that because, I don't want to like pervert
no.
innocent fight from an outsider looking in. But I can see this fight being a draw, But I don't see Jaime Munguia stopping Canelo, because I'll say this. I don't know if Jaime punches harder than Jermell Charlo, and I also don't think that Jaime punches harder than Triple G to be able to hurt Canelo. You know what I mean?
True. But I was just saying, like, if Canelo loses, it would hit his pride a little differently. Like, it's hurtful. You know what I'm saying? Like he would feel like he lost a little brother, than a stranger. Like it's his own countryman. It's different. I don't know. I like that's what I'm just trying to put myself in Canelo's shoes. But of course, Canelo's like not gonna get hurt. I just feel like his defense. I want to see how good Canelo's defense is while Jaime's just going off on him. Like I want to see him. Like I'm really curious about that, and I think Jaime's coming in with a different type of motivation. I think he's just in there he's gonna be in there to win some rounds, and he knows Canelo's gonna give up the first round or second round too, and he's gonna take those. So I'm just saying, like, the mirage of punches, like how many punches is he gonna get hit in the face? Even though he's not hurt, like how many hits in the face will the ref take? Because I know, like, when Bivol was going off on him, he was tagging him up. They weren't impactful punches, but there were punches that were in his face. And I think Munguia does the same type of shit, but he has more. His defense sucks, so that's what I'm saying. I just thought of that. That the Canelo is a fucking king counterpuncher, but Jaime is just gonna take over the rounds, So maybe not the stool, maybe a decision.
Yeah, I actually look at it the other way.
Decision.
You want to question Canelo's defense, but I want to question Jaime's defense. How much punishment can Jaime take? You see, Jaime gets sloppy. Like, for instance, when he fought Sergey Derenchenko, right, in Tijuana, Jaime was gonna get put to sleep, bro. You know what I mean? He was gonna get put to sleep
against who?
And out of just El Orgullo Mexicano, bro, like, and his fucking balls. Dude was fucking out on his feet, bounce against Sergey Derenchenko, the guy that fought Danny Jacobs and Triple G. And Jaime, like, bro, he probably lost that fight. So I got to question Jaime's chin.
Really?
I don't, and his defense.
I didn't see that.
I don't ever have to question Canelo's chin or defense. It's been tested with guys like Kovalev, with Dimitri Bivol, with guys like Triple G, and no one's been able to, he's been rocked, but ain't nobody ever able to drop him. And I don't know if Jaime is that guy, but I will say this. And I said it a little bit in the beginning of the video. In his last fight against Juan Ryder, bro, Jaime was bouncing a lot like Bivol, a lot of 1-2 straight punches. And when he wants to go on his little blitz of punches, that could trouble Canelo. But I can see Canelo not letting himself, catching and slipping a lot of those punches, and then boom, a left hook to the body. It's gonna be a very interesting fight, man. Like I said, I could see Jaime winning a decision, and I think Jaime is good enough to win 6 rounds against Canelo. My thing is this: Jaime, have you been working on your defense? And Freddie Roach, you know, a lot of people give Freddie Roach a lot of shit because they're like, but Freddie Roach, besides being an amazing offensive coach, look how great he did of a job with Miguel Cotto. Jaime can box like Miguel Cotto, bro. I really believe Jaime can learn how to box like Cotto. He's got the power. He's got the barrage of punches. He's big. And if he can learn how to roll like Cotto and then just kind of stay in the pocket, you know, squat a little bit, higher guard, I don't know, bro. Dude? I think Jaime, he can do it, bro. I think he can win 7 rounds on a decision. Canelo is a little older. He's throwing even less and less punches. When he does throw, it's quality punches. It's beautiful punch selection. But I don't know, bro. Jaime, look, I'll say this. If Jaime gets to a Mexican showdown, Canelo's going to fucking body him. But if he fucking fights smart and youthful and picks his spots when to fight, I think Jaime can. Like Bivol. Adi Mehdi says, bro,
dude,
Canelo's going to make Munguia's face look like Freddie Roach. El Pachuca, what's up, bro? Saludos. Let me read some of these comments, bro. Let me see. We read there. Adi Mehdi, that's actually a very good observation. I've never even had 2 of those names put together in the same train of thought. Vince Vargas goes, warped icon. Someone knocked out, punch drunk. Pachuca goes, saludos. The one you had earlier was Kenny Bayless, and that ref makes silly faces. And Kenny Bayless, you don't make those silly faces. That's the other Pelon. Adi Mehdi, Derenchenko was snapping Jaime's neck back. Yeah, bro. He had Jaime hurt badly. I thought Sergey deserved that win. Obviously, Jaime did drop in like in the 12th or the 11th round, and it made it that much closer because it was a very close competitive fight. But I thought Sergey Derenchenko did an amazing job, especially in, you know, enemy territory, so to speak, in Mexico. And he had everything of the odds betting against him. They did more or less give him a fair shake because all the judges' scorecards were relatively close. But you know, you can't complain about close fights like being a robbery because that was not it. And Pachuco goes, so glad to see you here, Carnal. Vince Vargas goes, Roach is a legend. Is he still training? Yeah, he's still training, man. He's still hitting mids. He's still catching those punches. He's probably still taking a few to the chin and to his abdomen. Yeah, man, I love Freddie Roach. A lot of these fighters like David Benavidez, Ryan Garcia, William Zepeda, Jaime Munguia, all of those fighters that throw a lot of punches, go with Freddie Roach. That's where you're going to maximize your profits and the bang for your buck. And, man, I love Freddie Roach, man.
And this is the thing, like with him teaching.
Great boxing as usual. Great boxing talk as usual. Yeah, what's going on, bro?
That's what I was thinking, like with Jaime Munguia and Freddie Roach, like he taught him offense and footwork, you know, like man, I can see I was thinking right now, like that footwork, sometimes he can overthink it and get caught. Like what if I can also see him getting like a flash knockdown. Not Canelo getting a flash knockdown on Jaime is what I meant, you know? And I'm like flip-flopping, bro. Like you explained it really eloquently, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, dude, I'm flip-flopping now. So
nah, bro.
Jaime by decision could happen. It's just like Canelo looks so loose right now. You know, he doesn't look like he's about to fight. You know, have you been watching his documentaries and all this, like the episodes he's been coming out with, like the
like when it started off in the snow.
Yeah. What episode 2?
That was a great shit. What was it called, bro? It was like on PBC, huh?
Yeah. like
I
on,
like
yeah, I
that little
forget what.
build up. That little promo was dope. Let me see.
Yeah.
It was called Canelo versus Jaime Munguia. Not full fight. I don't know, PBC. The gloves are off. Canelo versus Munguia, episode 1. That was awesome, bro. That I love that. 20 minutes, beautiful, bro. The cinema, the angles, the camera work, the editing. That's the best promo that I've seen PBC do of all time. Because they usually their promos are fucking garbage, but this one with
Mhm.
Jaime, oh, bro, they did a great job, man.
Yeah, no, I was watching it, bro, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, why is Canelo's trying to throw us off on him, trying to make it seem like he's not in camp mode, having all bunch of fun and shit. Like, this is the most he's been expressing himself a little more,
Yeah,
so
actually, it was
he looks
episode 2. Episode 2 is the one that I watched.
like
I didn't.
I want to bet solely on that, just because he's being loose right now, and and making me feel like he's not focused, but like, anything can happen, man. That's why I love boxing, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anything could happen, but there's a few things that are expected on a consistency basis. Like for example,
What's that?
yo, what's going on? Speed my check real quick. How you been, bro?
Yeah, I've been alright. What is the thing that we're expecting, homie Ricky?
Well, check this out. On a consistent basis, you can put your money in that Canelo is, for the most part, always going to go the distance unless he wins by knockout. And even in the tough fights, you can bank your money on Canelo that he isn't going to get knocked out or that he's going to have a suspect performance. What I mean by that is like Jaime has had trouble with guys like Jimmy Kelly. Even though Jaime does knock him out in 4 rounds, for the first 3, like he looks like shit. And then he looks like, you don't expect Canelo to have tough fights with guys like Gabe Rosado, but you could expect Jaime to. And that's what I'm saying is Jaime is very inconsistent where you have consistency with Canelo, even though he got beat by Bivol. Like it was still a good fight. It's not like Canelo wasn't in those rounds. No, I probably had that fight 8-4 Bivol, but even those 8 rounds that were still competitive, Canelo was still trying, and he was just getting beat and outboxed with straight punches, but not really getting hit flush. Jaime, on the other hand, he does get hit flush. He gets put on skates. His nose starts to bleed. And these are guys against like Jimmy Kelly's of the world. So if he's getting wobbled by guys like that, what can Canelo do? But I will say this, though. Canelo doesn't throw a lot of punches like those guys. He's very pot shot, counter shot, very selective. And so it's a clash of styles. But I don't know if Jaime si trae como el gusto para try to put Canelo down. Even if you were to try, if Triple G couldn't do it in 3 fights, and Triple G is a fucking force with a beautiful punch creativity, an amazing jab, an amazing chin, never been wobbled himself, I just wouldn't put Jaime Munguia to be better than Triple G at that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that does make sense. But I don't know, homie Ricky. What would you say? When was Canelo at his best? Was he at 154 or Canelo weight or Cotto weight, whatever you want to call it, or was he much better at 160, or is he at his peak at 168? Because the weight, there is some sacrifice, obviously, and we've noticed it when Canelo has gone up to 175. He just has lost his pop, right? He wasn't able to do anything to the much bigger Dmitry Bivol. So you have to really consider, is Jaime Munguia a bigger threat to Canelo right now at 168, knowing how Munguia has fought those men at 168, the way that he's overcome those obviously naturally bigger fighters, considering that Jaime actually fought as low as 154, and also the fact that Canelo himself is now a little more sharp one, right? I mean, he took on John Ryder for 12 rounds. And if we compare John Ryder to someone like Sergey Deremchenko, I would bet money. I'm not a big betting man, but I would bet money that Deremchenko, he stops John Ryder. And we know that although Jaime Munguia was in a very tough fight, very, very tough fight against that Ukrainian guy, the fact still stands. He was able to work all 12 rounds, knock him down at the end when he's already shop worn and beaten and had gone some very hellacious rounds. He still found it in him to hurt and topple the Ukrainian. I don't know if Canelo gets stronger as the fight goes on longer. You see, Canelo tends to tire out. Not saying he doesn't, blows out his whole load, and I'm not even saying he doesn't have a second win. For the most part, we know that he is able to compensate and make his wins convincing. I'm just saying, when I think about Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez, I actually do think this is going to be Canelo's toughest fight in years, the most violent one, where he is going to sustain some hellacious punches coming back from the, I don't know, maybe shinny, maybe not shinny, Jaime Munguia. I mean, I've never seen him get dropped.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm a little torn, bro. Like,
I will say this.
I'm thinking like he doesn't have the energy to go punch for punch with the top guys. I mean, like I'm not saying that he doesn't have a chin. I'm just saying like he's giving up more and more rounds, And I think if Munguia plays it safe, at first I said knockout. I was like, no, what? You're right. Like Canelo does no defense, and he's not the type to really like sit down, like he's taking Triple G's punches and yeah, bro, like he's got that chin, and even if he actually sees a punch coming, like he'll actually turn his chin, like he's got those little veteran moves that he knows, like so those things like that. I'm like, what? I think Munguia can win enough rounds to win by decision, but I can also see him wobbling Munguia because that Derenchenko fight, like I was like watching the highlights right now, and I was like, okay, I think he can by knockout, bro. Like I'm starting to think by knockout. I'm thinking Canelo by knockout and Munguia by decision. Like
Yeah,
I'm standing on that a little bit.
it could also be
That's
a
a good
draw,
one.
bro. Because I'll say this: there was a fight maybe 12 years ago where Canelo fought Perro Angulo, right? And Canelo, I think he had yellow gloves and yellow trunks, and he dominated Perro Angulo for like 8 rounds, 9 rounds. It was fucking one-sided beatdown, and the fight ended up being stopped by I think Tony Weeks when Canelo feinted that uppercut, or he just throws a hand up in the air and he goes, "Ha, bam!" And he just fucking throws this like uppercut, and the ref was like, "Oh, I got enough. I've seen enough." But in that previous round, Perro had Canelo, like Canelo was tiring out. His skin starts to get much more red. And fucking Perro Angulo was wailing on him. And Canelo was like, "Come here, motherfucker, come on." Back up against the ropes. And Perro had a lot of success. So if Jaime resembles in terms of that fighting style, like Perro Angulo, if he's able to do that, I think it could definitely go the distance. Either way, and if it does go the distance, that means Jaime is finding himself a lot of success in that fight, or maybe he's too brave for his own good and he's fucking getting pieced apart, and it's just a matter of time. But nah, man, to El Pachuco's point, when he goes like this, I love Eric Morales, but honestly, he wasn't a dedicated trainer. Under Freddie Roach, Jaime is a different beast. I concur. Like Jaime has grown exponentially in such a manner, like in such a short amount of time with Freddie Roach. Now imagine what Jaime could do with 3-4 fights with Freddie. That looks like it's meshing well. It's very compatible, and Jaime listens to that instructions. And Freddie, you have to be dedicated, bro, because with Freddie Roach's regimen, alongside like if you see a guy having his own battles and he's still training and he's stuttering his words, fumbling his words, and he's shaking because of the Parkinson's and things of that nature. Like you don't have time to fuck around and lie to an old man like that. You know what I mean? So he's gonna bring the best dedication out of you. Look at Jose Ramirez. When Jose was training at the wild card with Freddie Roach, Jose Ramirez was a fucking force. The minute he started getting comfortable and he moved camp to Robert Garcia and they became all buddy. You know what I mean? Look what happened. Jose looks fucking horrible against southpaws. He doesn't look like the same fighter with that same like ferociousness, with the same punch output. Jose Ramirez used to box very well, and then he used to do these little side-to-side movements like Lomachenko. he
Mhm.
deviated from that. And it's like, bro, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's just coming down in the center line, all straight fighter, and getting clocked with all these left hands. And Robert Garcia,
Yeah.
I love Robert Garcia, you know what I'm saying? But he sometimes becomes buddy with all of his fighters. Look at Brandon Rios. And that relationship, there's always got to be respect where it's like, you can't be my friend. This is business. Because the minute we start going out to, parties and drinking together, not only is that like that level of friendship, it has to be strictly business. It can't be, oh, I look at him as my son. Like, you have to separate that shit. You know what I mean? And with Freddie Roach, it's always strict business. And with
Yeah.
Robert Garcia, it's like very friendly and mutual. And it's like, nah, bro, like you got to make the tough decisions. And I just feel like, I don't know, a lot of fighters, um, when they leave Freddie Roach, they're no longer the same. Jose Ramirez, fucking Amir Khan, all of these dudes that were great under him, once they deviate and they go to guys, that aren't at Freddie Roach's level, like the kid from Oakland, what the fuck is his name? The trainer, punch
Hu-
uncle. What the fuck is his name?
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil Hunter. Yeah, I was gonna say Vergil Ortiz.
Oh
They don't look the same, bro.
yeah,
But
Virgil
yeah,
Hunter,
bro,
bro. Like he's a PO officer, bro. Like you don't play games with him, bro. Like he works. He doesn't really make friends with anybody. Like he's strictly business. I like Virgil.
yeah, I mean,
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil's pretty good. Like he's gonna tell you some shit, but like there's levels and beyond. Like
Yeah,
Freddie Roach has done this with multiple fighters.
and different
Virgil Hunter
rules.
has only done it with Andre Ward.
Oh God.
True.
You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
just like,
Hilarious.
after Andre Ward, who has Virgil Hunter built? Look how horrible he made Mario Barrios and Amir Khan and Andre Berto. The minute Mario Barrios leaves Virgil Hunter, Mario Barrios starts winning damn near all of his fucking fights. You
Yeah.
know? And I'm not saying that he wasn't tantamount and built Mario Barrios correctly. No, Mario Barrios is very fundamentally sound. He's like a poor man's version of Andre Ward, how he fights and rolls punches and throws his jab. But he's way better with the trainers that he is now. Look, I'm not trying to shit on Virgil Hunter, bro. It is what it is. But yeah, bro. I agree with El Pachuco, Freddie Roach and Jaime. That's a great pairing, and I can't wait to see what kind of game plan Freddie Roach draws up against Canelo. And that Cotto experience, I think, is gonna pay dividends a lot, especially more so than whatever Eric Morales was teaching him. Eric Morales, amazing fighter. Roy Jones Jr., amazing fighters. But honestly, shit trainers, horrible trainers.
Well, there was that one fight or two, homie, under Morales that Munguia actually implemented some defensive abilities and even head movement, but then that only lasted really 2 fights, and then he resorted to being the rote, typical Jaime Munguia that we always knew him to be, which was a very exciting, come forward fighter that had a lot of output, but he was a punching bag for the most part, right? And I do see some changes and Freddie Roach. And I think whoever brought it up, I think it may have been Pachuco, who said that, or maybe you did, 3 or 4 fights under Freddie Roach. And if he had met Canelo under the tutelage of Freddie Roach for at least another 2 fights, man, I mean, those odds would be way closer. Because I know if there's any trainer out there that can shape a fighter to be the best aggressor naturally, that would be Freddie Roach. I lament to say that right now, after this last fight that Jaime Munguia had against John Ryder, which obviously was a very good fight for him. I don't think he took a lot of damage there. It is still good enough for him to prepare him for a Canelo, but I don't know. I do see it a very competitive fight that will last all 12 rounds. I do see Canelo winning. I do see Canelo getting a KD because, of course, we do know that Munguia engages, and I think Canelo's timing is just going to get him. But I also think that Munguia is going to impress everybody. He's not going to be a punching bag. He's going to implement other different moves there that are going to surprise people, and I hope that this is going to be that stellar performance on Munguia's side, which will open up the doors to not only name recognition, but everybody calling him out afterwards, because that's what's going to happen with him. I really don't see anybody else performing better against Canelo at this juncture. Munguia has to be the guy.
And
Now,
this, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say that I'm very excited for this year fight. You know, I don't know if I was this exciting against John Ryder. John Ryder, obviously, he's a very hellacious fighter. I've seen him fight at least 4 different times. He's very resilient, very tough. He proved it. Heart of a warrior. But man, if there was ever a punching bag, that was him on that night, and I'd never seen him like that. So that's why I say I don't know if it looks too highly well on the side of Munguia to have fought in that guy. It looks excellent that he knocked him down or stopped him, but I mean, John Ryder, he may have become a very beatable, chinny fighter after Canelo. So that's what I'm saying. Canelo is just, I don't know, guys. I'm just a little confused on Canelo, but not so much on Munguia. I think Munguia is coming to a point in his career that anything can happen.
Check this out, dude. Adi Medi goes, homie Ricky, thank you for supporting Canelo on this channel. I see you having a picture at the top right corner of our screen, the duck emoji.
Oh yeah, no. So actually, funny that you bring that up. Yeah, funny that he brings down the StreamYard.
Yeah, hold on, man. Let's read some of these comments. That's funny, bro. Yo, Warp Speed. Hold on. Damn, I missed a lot.
You already read them.
Hold on. PBC fight. Okay. El Pachuco goes. Okay. Adi Medi goes. If Munguia happens to win the belts, can we make it a transition to Doug Benavidez on purpose? I hope not, man. I think Jaime versus Benavidez would be great. Benavidez, I don't know. So check this out. Hold on. Before I go on to that, let's read some of these comments. So El Pachuco goes, PBC fighters are suspect until proven otherwise. Ferocious Vergil Ortiz KOs a game Tszyu in 6 rounds. A ferocious Virgil Ortiz Jr. KOs a game Tszyu in 6 rounds. I don't even know if Virgil Ortiz could beat Sebastian Fundora or Brian Mendoza. Like I'm not gonna lie.
You don't like
Vergil Ortiz, and his body's
why
posing in front of us.
Why?
Speaking of ducks, what did you end up naming your duck?
Oh, so yeah, no, it's not a duck. It's he's just using the emoji. But yeah, the bird. So yeah, guys, yeah, you know what? You asked me earlier on, and you always do ask, homie Rick, and I appreciate that you do ask how I'm doing, what's been up with me. And well, the past couple of months, I know you've been out of the whole YouTube game, but it's been a up and down. Things that I've just been wanting to invest my time and emotions on. They don't really pan out. But otherwise, I've had my wins and my losses. But one of the losses that I had most recently was this little bird that my niece found at my mother's home. I don't know if we ever told the story here, but this punching bag, we have this at my mother's, we have this punching bag, this upright punching bag with its base, and at the base, at the top, it has support, and birds go in there, and I guess they make a nest. I don't know how they make a nest, but it's made out of metal, so they go in through this little port at the top of the upright and erect, the thing that holds up the punching bag, and they have their little eggs there, and they hatch them and whatnot. And then my niece was going out there, and she sees a couple of little birds on the floor. They're dead. And she looks up, and I guess this mother bird is throwing the little baby birds down, and she throws the last one. And of course, the little guy doesn't even have feathers. He flops down, takes a real hard hit, and then she takes him in. This is the only survivor. She starts to nurse him, and her and my mother start feeding it baby Gerber or whatever, and they start trying to savage this little bird's life, and they succeeded for the one day, right? He was completely fainted, and they started to force his beak open, feed him, and little by little the little bird starts getting a little second wind, and he starts becoming all perky, and now he's making little sounds and making little faces. So I walk over there, and they're nurturing this little guy right here, and I'm saying, wow, I can cheer this on, right? I like the underdogs. I like for things to overcome the hardships that they go in their life and become stronger as a result. So, me, stupid me over here, just wanted to attach some emotionality that really I didn't know I wanted to, and I just made it a little thing on my comment section. I posted, hey guys, what should we name this little guy right here? And the Mexican G said Scrappy, right? Because he looked like a fighter. Addy Medi, always the jester, he said name him Canelo because he looked like a duck. And and he did look like a duck. Yeah, like a duck bill. Little bird looked like a duck. So he said Scrappy was the Mexican G. Arimeri said Canelo because he looked like a duck, but I said Corrales because Corrales was really taking a beating at the hands of Jose Castillo, and he came up. But I meant to say that Scrappy, Corrales, Alvarez, he didn't make it, and that's what he's talking about right there.
Got you. Let me keep going down. Freddie Roach and Robert Garcia are the best trainers in the game. I feel bad. Vince Vargas goes, I feel bad for Luis Correa. Lost his last fight on Top Rank versus a champ. Trained by Garcia. I like King Lou. Discovered him not too long ago. I do too. I thank you and the Mexican G for the engagement. It allowed us for closure. I didn't want him to be just another dead baby bird. Okay. I love Eric Morales, but honestly, he wasn't a dedicated. Okay, I read that. I had Luis Correa beating Robinson Conceição before Stevenson and Emmanuel Navarrete. Interesting. I don't even think I know Luis Correa. Adi Medi goes, I watched an interview when they asked Canelo what he thought about the Munguia versus Ryder fight. And he started praising Munguia for his performance. And then I was thinking to myself, man, Canelo's very humble. He actually gave Munguia his flowers. But then Canelo says, but I took a lot out of John Ryder during my fight with him. He took a beating.
Damn.
So he downplayed Munguia's performance by saying Canelo softened up Ryder. And I will say this, Canelo was dominating Ryder badly for fucking 9 rounds. And his face was busted up. There was a lot of blood, noses broken, dropped him. And John Ryder, for some reason, started blocking Canelo's punches. Canelo trying to go for the knockout, maybe, tired himself out, and he kept throwing the same repetitive looping right hand that was landing at first. But then as he started getting tired, he started getting fatigued. The zap and the speed is not there. John Ryder started blocking it, and he started, using his headbutt, made Canelo's nose look like a reindeer, and he toughed it out. He did soften him up, and Hyman just finished him. So you could make that argument, but nevertheless, hey, that was amazing. Either way.
Wait, homie Ricky, so you think?
Hold on. Let me get through this. Hold on. Warp Speed Korea is a fighter I want to see more of. Adi Mehdi goes, yes, he did, but now he downplayed. Okay, I read that. Pachuco goes, yeah, I seen those highlights and I was bummed. The last fight versus a top-ranked Filipino champ was a tough one. Did him dirty. Charlie Suarez is a tough fighter as well. That fight crushed me. Adi Mehdi goes, which of the 100% KO artists will lose their streak? Artur Beterbiev, Subriel Matias, Vergil Ortiz, or Gary Antoine? Wow. What a question.
I know. Killer question, man.
Will
what a question.
Take Beterbiev the distance? Will Liam Paro take Subriel the distance? Will Tim Tszyu take Virgil the distance? Will Gary Antoine retire? Man. All right. Man. All right. So you're gonna say, going back to the Jaime Munguia fight, what were you gonna say, Drew?
No, not that one, homie Ricky. Mostly Canelo, and John Ryder, right? I was gonna say, do you honestly think that Canelo tried to pursue the knockout?
Yeah,
or do you think, okay, or is it possible
to give a knockout to the Mexican
in Mexico? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Now, if that's the case, then you have to consider one thing. If he couldn't knock that guy out, again, we go back to the same thing. Is Canelo really pushing it too far? at 168 and those higher weight classes? Has he maxed out his knockout potential? Right? Because the other thing that we have to consider is, of course, Canelo wanted to knock out John Ryder in front of 50,000 Mexicans. But is it possible that Canelo is so good that he can carry a fighter? In other words, will he pursue a knockout against Jaime Munguia, or because he's Mexican and because Jaime is very respectful and because Jaime might be the next Mexican star after this fight, will Canelo carry him in order to not really affect Jaime Munguia's career?
See, that's what kind of Drew was kind of alluding to earlier too, when he goes, Canelo might, kind of take it easy on the Mexican. No, look, I got to look at it like this. You don't get paid overtime in the sport of boxing. If you can knock out somebody in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, it's better to go 12 rounds, because in a 12-round fight, and as dangerous as this sport is, any punch, any moment, any, mental lapse, you get clocked on the temple, boom.
Yeah.
You get all wobbly. So you can't have sympathy towards people. You see, especially in the sport of boxing, because if you do, and you start and you get that humanized element, look what Vergil Ortiz, Victor Ortiz had against Mayweather. He was fucking doing good, being rough, tough, and then he fucking throwing the headbutt, amazing shit. And then he starts giving Mayweather hugs and kisses, and then boom, toma way. Like you can't, bro. If you're gonna be a dog, be like Marcos Maidana. Tackle motherfuckers, bite the fucking dude's glove, do whatever you gotta do. This is a fucking fight. So no, Canelo can't have, he's my Mexican colleague and compatriot. Like, no, fuck no, bro. Nah, what we want to see is fucking straight, like Eric Morales Barrera hatred type of shit. With respect, but you want a good ass fucking fight where you're like, run that shit back. And the only way you get that is by having animosity. And being patient, focused, and determined. You can't have sympathy and just be like, because that's what Lomachenko had to Richard Comey. Oh, stop this fight. Or Ryan Garcia had towards Bill Haney and Devin. Hey, dude, stop this fight. No, bro. And they don't want to stop it. They would look. If the tables were turned, Devin Haney would have no sympathy. Bill Haney and his father and Devin were saying, if I stop you in the first round, are you going to quit? They were to Ryan. They were also said, oh, we're gonna catch a body. But when the table was flipped, why are you all of a sudden having sympathy when they were just talking a gang of shit? Why?
Yeah.
So nah, bro. Like, I mean, could it happen to Canelo where he carries somebody? Sure, it could happen. But Jaime is a fucking force, and he's punch heavy, and he throws a lot of punches. You can't think like that, because the minute you think like that, you're gonna get caught. And then, a big surprise could happen. So hopefully Canelo doesn't.
I'm just saying it'll hit his pride differently. If he loses to Jaime, like I don't know, a loss is a loss. Like I'm also thinking like he's also a fucking businessman, and he sees a potential bout. I predicted it too. Berlanga early or late is gonna happen after this, and then possibly a David Benavidez. Like, I hope he's thinking that way, but if he's not, then he's just, collecting these easy checks for now. But this isn't easier than Berlanga. Obviously, Berlanga fight is like the easiest fucking fight
possible you can make.
Yeah, exactly.
He's getting slightly better.
Yeah.
Yes, but as somebody pointed out, I'm like on the TBV, like he's the hardest puncher at 168. Is that true?
Wait, Munguia?
No.
I don't know. You can give it to David, and you can also give it to David Morrell. But again, like, who have you fought to really earn that respect? Same thing with Edgar Berlanga. Yeah, you load up on your shots. Yeah, you throw a lot of power punches. But can you receive it as well? Because it's not like these guys like Canelo and Jaime or David are just going to let you wail on them and without answering their own. Like, I don't know. It's a tough question. Edgar does have a lot of power. But, you got to land it. You got to set it up. You got to have that IQ and that temperament to be able to do so, especially in the face of adversity with guys that have good defense. If you're just going to wail on a Canelo, it's not going to happen. Look what happened to James Kirkland. He came out there trying to blitz Canelo. Fight ended in 3 rounds. I want to go back to this comment right here from Adi Mendy. He goes, It was about like who's gonna lose their knockout streak. So will Bivol take Beterbiev the distance? Will Leon Paro take Subriel Matias the distance? Tim Tszyu take Vergil the distance? And will Gary Antoine Russell retire? I will say this. I have money on Bivol to beat Beterbiev by distance, but you know, there is this fight, I think it was Joe Smith Jr., and Joe Smith Jr. landed an amazing looping right hand over the top on Bivol. Beterbiev is much more stronger than Joe Smith and much more creative in terms of how he sets up his power shots. I think when I look back, I probably should have put money on Beterbiev to win because I was seeing some of those fights that he had against Alexander Volstik, and Beterbiev looked great. He just looked fucking dangerous. But on the flip side, when I studied that fight against that UK fighter, Anthony Yarde, I'm thinking, man, if Yarde, with that 1-2 shoulder roll, if Bivol can do similar things like that, and I know that he can, I can see Bivol maybe dominating Beterbiev to the point where maybe Bivol knocks down Beterbiev. Beterbiev is a little chinny. You know, Anthony Yarde, Callum Johnson, guys like that, you know, kind of stunned Beterbiev. But I don't know. Leon Paro, I like Leon Paro, that Australian.
Yeah.
I think he can beat Matias.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
that guy Vergashev, who was like 24-0 and he had a good set of knockouts himself, Subriel just wailed on him. And I don't know if Leon Paro, I know he's trickier. He does train with Freddie Roach, so he has that tough background. I would favor Leon Paro to take Subriel the distance. Subriel, you know, he has 19, 20 wins, but he does have one loss. And he avenged that loss and he knocked out that guy. Or it was a draw, nevertheless. So I can see Leon Paro winning. Will Tim Tszyu take Vergil a distance? No, Tim Tszyu will knock out Vergil Ortiz. And will Gary Antoine Russell retire? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Hey, he's gonna retire after just signing to Matchroom.
Let me see. El Pacheco goes lost by decision, but the fight was one-sided. Career couldn't get his shots off in time and was getting caught with some hard punches. Didn't go down. He showed a lot of heart. Hopefully, it was an off night. Career will be back. Good thing Canelo versus Ryder wasn't in Distrito Federal because them Chilango judges would have robbed him. Good thing Canelo versus Ryder was in Distrito Federal. So I'm guessing like those guys at the Federal don't like Canelo. Tim Tszyu has hit the canvas against not so good fighters. Terrell Guichet. Yeah. Does Jaime Munguia have a moniker? I haven't heard a nickname of him, but if he gets one, he should be called Jaime Juarez Munguia. I don't know.
No, read the next one. Read the next one. He'll explain to you why.
Read it. Go for it.
He says, because after his John Ryder fight, he got the mic and told the crowd, "What is my name?" And the crowd started jeering. Do you get it?
Because after his John Ryder fight, he got the mic and told, "What is my name?" What is my name? I just said that.
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to speak English well, so he's trying to say what is my name, but it sounds like what is. Yeah,
right,
so
yeah.
Read the last comment.
That's his little moment. No, I just looked it up. I don't think Jaime Munguia has a moniker. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
It's El Mero Mero.
I don't know. So it would be Juan.
Mero, that'd be a nice one. Mero.
He's seen my story, and I put. Yeah. He's Jaime Munguia seen that when I put El Mero Mero. He it's the one I showed you. And he liked it, but
That's
I don't
cool.
know.
He should take it up.
Yeah, I know he should.
Yeah, no, I think man, all of these fights are close, and that's what you want boxing to look like. You don't really want one-sided beatdowns. You want to have a good dialogue because these fights are really good. I will say this: Jaime is still growing. You know, I know he's like 25, 27 years old or whatever the case may be, but in terms of his intellect, his boxing IQ, you know, you can see him thinking in those fights. You can see him setting up those punches. We know that he can dog it out. We know that he can throw barrage and punches a bunches, but we need him to be much more creative and not just be an onslaught machine. You know, you want him to have a system. You want him to have an approach. You want him to be very crafty. You don't just want him just to whale shots like an Edgar Berlanga. You know what I mean? Like If you got power, you can throw power. But when power meets intelligence and you're setting up shots, you're setting up traps, you're feinting, that's where the knockouts come. And that's maybe why he made it look so easy against John Ryder. But I don't know, I don't want to say and rate John Ryder as this fucking, precedent where he's like, yeah, man, if you get to John Ryder and you beat him, yeah, you're definitely the goods. But I will say this: in order to beat John Ryder, you gotta be tough because he can receive a lot of punishment, and here and there he can let his hands go. Even though John Ryder doesn't have the best creativity, the dude squats like 700 pounds, so he's fucking, strong, bro. He's strong. And yeah, so I don't know. It'll be a very interesting fight.
Okay.
We'll see, man. Adi Medi goes, maybe after Jaime takes Canelo's belts, maybe he can take his Rosetta Stone too while he's at it. Take his Canelo. Yeah, honestly, look, Canelo's English is getting a little better. I know he's having much more fun speaking it, and I know he loves his English cuss words. Hey, yo, guys, you guys have to hold it down. I got to use the restroom, man.
Okay. Hey, who was he talking about when he's who was squatting 700 pounds?
No, he's talking about John Ryder. He has to be. That's
Okay.
the gorilla, the only guy that I
No
know
wonder why he's so
personally.
slow. Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why you don't lift weights. I mean, I didn't know that, but shit, now it makes sense, bro. Lifting weights, like you could. They need to start teaching these. I think it's a UK problem. I think UK people are trying to market themselves a little more, because they make a living in the club shows and shit, so they got to look more appealing. But I see more, I see more UK guys like try to look more defining and shit. But in
Yeah.
reality, that's what's slowing them down. The less you stretch out your muscles, the easier it is to gain that muscle memory. So it's like squatting 700 pounds. Don't do it. No one, even the heavyweights, don't squat that much, bro. Like you're only supposed to squat like a certain amount, bro. Like, and on top of that, it's how you squat that shit. Like you're supposed to go like halfway and shit. But legs are important though. But it's all about the reps. It's all about drilling. It's all about keep hitting the same amount of weight. Thousands of times. You can't just max out your fucking legs like that. That's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, but the reason, but actually, I think before he was a boxer, I think he may have been a soccer player.
Oh, rugby player. That's right.
Yeah. So so that's the reason why he needed to have strong legs. He always had to focus on his leg capacity, and of course, there's that misconception. Well, it's not really a misconception.
He looks like a rugby player.
Yeah, but your power does come from your legs, right? Your torsional power comes from your legs, and that does help you. It does promote power if you have good, strong legs. But yeah, you're right. If you overdo it and you're just lifting weights, look, in the case of John Ryder, look how many fights I've seen, and he doesn't get a knockout. I don't even think he even gets a knockdown. I mean, I saw him with Callum Smith. I thought he beat Callum Smith off of skill alone. He looked like a British version of Canelo, just a southpaw. And look at him. He didn't do nothing. He never hurt Callum Smith to the point of saying, oh, hey, he hurt him. Or you go back into all of his record and all of the fights that I've seen him, even though he is that muscular, even though we know he is that powerful, he can't do squat with that power. So it's like, I don't know. He's really overdoing it. Like you say, it's muscle memory, it's repetition of boxing related exercises, right? But
and you only have so much blood circulating around your system. You need it to go to your brain and not your muscles. And your other organs. But if you got these big ass muscles, then your shit's it's feeding the muscles and not your brain. And I feel like that's how you get more tired. Like that's how you physically get more tired, is by adding more muscle. You get heavier, you get more explosive and all that. But I mean, there's a balance, maybe that's the reason why Canelo's getting so tired, is because he's been building that 5'8" frame so much muscle so he can punch hard enough to get respect of the of his 168 opponents. You know, so I mean, it's physics, bro. Like, and some people do it at a high level and build all this muscle, and they still are able to box. It's cardio, man. Honestly, I've been punched so hard. I feel like some people just have natural chins, and all they need is to punch with their opponent. You know, in reality, they don't need to match them for they don't need to match their power, man. Sometimes it's all mental, and it's all about your brain health. You know, so that's what and they focus so much on muscle and not enough on your cardio, your mental health, and not how you fucking look during the weigh-ins.
Yeah, yeah. Reading just a couple of these few comments, just to catch up on them. El Pachuco, the great Tejano that he is, he says, "Arriba Ciudad Juárez, aquí andamos." He's from Ciudad Juárez, just right across the border from, I think, El Paso, Texas, and I know the Ciudad Juárez just uh Juanga. I don't know if you listen to Spanish music, but there's this very, very talented singer songwriter. Well, he's dead now, maybe a whole decade now. Juan Gabriel. He was from Juarez, and man, that guy wrote every song in Spanish. You know him. I think when you compare like who the best songwriters of Mexican descent and Mexican music, it would have to be Marco Antonio Solis El Buki. You'd have to have Jose Alfredo Jimenez, and you'd have to have Juanga. In my opinion, you'd have to have those three, right? I'm not too sure who's the best. I have no opinion whatsoever. I like them all. I will say this: uh, some of the songs of Juanga have been covered by some very incredible artists, and nobody can cover the songs of Jose Alfredo Jimenez better than himself. That man is the only man that I know can make me cry. Uh, that's why I don't listen to him anymore, because he's too much. Um, let's see what El Pachuco states. The homie Ricky is wrong as usual, just like the time he said that the month of February hosts 31 days. Beterbiev by late round KO, Virgil by mid-fight KO,
And then
Matthias
he
by decision loss.
and then Rick is like, I'm 100% sure that shit didn't happen.
Which one? What did he say?
The
Where?
eclipse. Oh, my bad. You didn't read it. So
No.
El Pachuco goes. The homie Ricky showed up to view the eclipse 3 days late,
Mhm.
and then
Where?
he's like,
Where? What
"Oh my
the?
God! Hey, this is his older brother, El Pachuco. So they're
Yeah.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
the
Sorry.
same. They're the same person, honestly. But
Oh
nah,
man.
I like, and Rick's like the type to be like, bro, that shit's a fluke, bro. I was there, nothing happened.
Yeah, yeah, crap. And Bachuco mentions, of course, Maxim Dadashev enters chat, and I think this is a very good moment to uh, to take the time and wish a safe uh, travels through space and time to our befallen fighter RD Ndembo, who passed away as of the 26th. He was in a fight on the 8th of this year, month of April. He fell into a state of coma. He was lingering there for 21 days, trying to keep him under artificial breathing devices and whatnot. A fighter with a record of 8-0, 7 KOs. He ended up walking into his last fight as an undefeated fighter, and the one fight that he lost, similar to Maxim Dadashev, he lost the most important fight of all, that of his life. So for RD and Dembo, and of course Maxim Dadashev, uh, I thank you for your sacrifice. And if you guys do have it in you to donate a little something for the surviving children, the little kids of the 27-year-old fighter that just passed away, the Congolese fighter that was fighting out of Florida, RD and Dembo, we'd appreciate it. His last promotion, LFC, who is an up and coming boxing promotion that's picked up a couple of good fighters, well-known names recently. Um, they are matching donations up to 25,000. So if you put $10, they put $10. You put $1,000, they're gonna match your 1,000 up until 25,000. But I do lament to say that a fighter that I am in contact with, his stablemate and roommate, uh, who I won't mention at this here moment because we still have to make arrangements whether or not he does still want to address what happened to lead up to the death of this here fighter. Because he has an upcoming fight this here Saturday on May the 4th in Texas. But but if that happens, of course, I'll keep you all apprised. But nonetheless, I just wanted to state that RD and Dembo, he passed away. Similarly, an undefeated fighter like Maxim Dadashev. El Pachuco says the homie Ricky claims today's date is 4/26/2024. Canelo is so tired he's carrying the boxing on his back. But Ryan Garcia is taking some of the load off of him. Yeah, he's the man of about town right now. Pachuco mentions that he showed up the clips 3 days late. And yeah, there you go. Jose Alfredo Jimenez #1, Juan Gabriel #2. So I guess maybe El Pachuco, that would make El Buki #3. I don't know. Nah, man, I would never joke about Fallen Warriors. No, I don't think you were joking about that. I just, actually quite glad that you brought up Maxim Dadashev because, it's a good opportunity to tell you all about Artie and Dembo. Adi Medi mentions at the end, the last comment Pachuco mentioned Matthias by decision, and it reminded me of the Dadashev fight that almost went the distance. So, Dream, one of the things that I do, right, because I don't like to comment about boxing. I really like to let the chips fall where they may. I don't like to trouble my mind by trying to make opinions about this very corruptible sport that has a puncher's chance, right? This sport of the puncher's chance and the underdogs, I don't like to make any kind of opinions about it. I just like to report on these things. But I do like to keep my ear close to the ground and see what people are saying. And I did run into El Pachuco on the BDA show, which I'm a big fan of. I love Mr. BDA. And he is of the opinion, right, that Virgil Ortiz would beat Tszyu on account that Tszyu reminds him of Virgil beating Kavaliauskas. And then I started to think about that. I started to think, okay, there's some similarities, right? Very good boxing skills, some power behind them, very good technical abilities. But I tried to look at Timmy's record, and I started going through all the names, and I couldn't find a fighter like Virgil Ortiz on the record of Tszyu, right? I had I looked at Jeff Horn and I was like, no, that does not remind me of of a of of Virgil Ortiz. And then I found a fighter, and I'm not too sure if you guys are aware of him, but his name is Stevie Sparks. He's the guy who was embarrassing Montana Love about a year and a half ago. Montana Love got so frustrated at being dominated, he ended up pushing Stevie Sparks to the ropes, and then he close lined him, and the guy did a flip, and he almost landed on his neck. Montana Love, out of frustration, close lined the Australian fighter by the name of Steve Sparks. And I think Steve Sparks might be the closest thing to Timmy in his record, like Virgil Ortiz, right? Brian Mendoza, maybe.
No,
And if you
look, Steve Sparks,
Sebastian Fedora,
I have to disagree. Steve Sparks is not that guy. He's not that guy.
is there
But
any guy in Timmy's record that you would say is to being the guy like Virgil Ortiz? Could it be Sebastian Fedora?
let me see. No, actually, I think it should be like Terrell Gachet. Or
Terrell
are you saying?
Gachet?
Are you saying that's his? Which one? Which opponent is his best win? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm trying to see which opponent best resembles a Virgil Ortiz on the record of Tszyu.
Oh, dude.
Is it
Maybe
fair
no
to
one.
say
Huh?
that isn't it fair to say that every single one of Virgil Ortiz's fights are against 140 pounders?
Yeah, good point.
Mauricio
That is a good
Herrera,
point.
135, I don't know, 140 pounder. Maurice Hooker, a 140 pounder. All of these guys basically move up in weight, where Virgil is a much larger man.
Wow.
I mean,
What do you have to say about that, Pachuco? He's got a point. The homie Ricky's got a point.
Virgil can't even make weight, and
Yeah.
he's beating these guys in these fabricated weight classes. Let me ask you guys this: has Virgil Ortiz ever been a champion?
No.
Nope.
Why do you think that is?
Because he can't make weight.
Well,
Is that a good point?
that is a
'Cause
very
he can't
good
make
point.
weight?
Yeah, because that's and
Checkmate?
because he
No.
never asked for the Terrence Crawford fight. You know, he could have fought
Oh, yeah, he
Terrence
could've.
Crawford for but you know, the most that he was gonna get, Dream, out of this is maybe get a shot at 1 and 2 for Terrence Crawford's vacant belts, or maybe he could have been granted a belt just like Tszyu was granted when the baby Charlo decided to move up and not come back and defend it. But otherwise, I don't think Virgil Ortiz was ever gonna beat a fighter like Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford for an actual belt. I think he was just going to be granted it one, but he couldn't make weight.
Bro, he has a better chance of beating Errol than he does a Tszyu. Tszyu is not like
And that's the
broken
fight that
down.
Virgil
Like
should have made.
literally,
That's the
yeah.
fight Virgil
Like
should
he
have
should
made.
be taking a. Yeah, like that's a good fight right there. Like they're both kind of in this unknown state. I mean, a lot of people think highly of Spence still. A lot of people think highly of fucking Virgil. So, but there's on the other vice versa, you know. So, I think that's a good fight right there because
Yeah,
what
man,
happened?
you read it, huh? Oh man,
What happened?
Fucking nice, dude. That's
you
lit.
we have the best commenters, man.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Virgil like that's a 147. That's a 147 pounder right there in Errol, but he's fighting Tszyu, a full
Yeah.
fledged 154 pounder.
Yep.
You know, and someone that actually who I seen could have knocked out fucking Fundora. In reality, he took an L, but I still think more highly of him than Sebastian Fundora. So you're actually fighting a dude that without a belt right now. That's actually the man in the division, and you're deciding to fight the top dog like in the division. I know, Crawford could be that guy, but he's unproven. Tszyu has proven that, and fucking now that I'm looking at his resume, bro. I think this shit could potentially not look good for fucking Virgil, but
Yeah.
I hope that I hope he at least goes a decision with this guy. And he could shock us, but I think Tszyu's just he's gonna take every single one of Virgil's shots. And I think he's gonna take them well, and then Virgil's gonna be like, fuck, like, here we go. But that's why he said fight of the year. So
To the credit of Virgil, he is very explosive. But
yeah,
I
he
will
is.
say this, like, you're explosive against whom? Have you really fought a guy with good defense? Have you fought another power puncher? Have you fought ex-champions? I don't even think he has one ex-champion or a champion in his resume, bro. Like, who have you fought? Like, I love the 100 knockout record, but who against whom? Who are these dudes?
Cavelasquez?
There's so much questions. Cavelasquez has never been a champion.
What about Hooker?
Yeah,
Correct. That is a champion.
at
You know,
140.
that's one champion at 140 who beat Alex and Cholo Salcedo, right?
Right. And then
You know,
Samuel
so,
Vargas.
fuck no.
No, I think
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Sammy had been
I'm just
out
kidding.
of
Hell no.
the ring for a
I'm
while.
fucked. I'm fucking. I'm just reading
Nah,
shit.
but
Go ahead.
look, basically what I'm saying is this. We haven't seen the best out of Virgil. Virgil, I mean, he has 20 fights, right? Which is not a lot, but you know, it's respectable where you could be a champion already by the 20 fights. But if you're that guy, now I don't really like to make comparisons because like everybody walks a different time zone. And what I mean by that is kind of like Teofimo Lopez can be undisputed within 6 fights and be a champion in multi divisions, 3, you know, in less than 15. So I don't need to put Vergil Ortiz on a Teofimo standard. But if you're really that guy, you can be a champion within under 10 fights. Vergil Ortiz has that experience to be a champion within 10 fights. But why hasn't he? Why are you still fighting, you know, 140 pounders to this day? Like where is that fight where you're like, damn, see guys, this is what I've been telling you this whole time that he is that dude. You see, Tszyu, to his credit, I don't know if he has a deep amateur record. You know what I mean? But off the get-go, he freaking fought Tszyu, who isn't a champion or anything, but he was a contender. Then he fights Tony Harrison, Sebastian Fundora, and all these guys, basically all back-to-back. He's acting and behaving like he is that guy.
Yeah.
Jermel Charlo, you know, he's standing on Virgil, you know, not to his fault. Like, that's just what happens with genetics and stuff like that. But, like, you know, the dude
Let me add one thing.
Out before he even steps into the ring. And these are signs that you're like, I don't know, bro. Like,
and you know what's even more impressive is that he fucking just lost and he's right and he didn't complain and he's right back on the fucking, you know, like right back on the bike. You know, he already has another
he's
fight,
a
bro.
badass, bro. Tim is a badass. That's the
like
facts.
he did not complain about the loss. He just said, "Fuck it, I'm willing to fight." And what's cool about this fight is that they're both excited to fight each other. Usually, it's
you
like
know that's already
animosity.
penciled in. You know that, right?
What?
As of today, BoxRec has them included in the what is it? August 3rd fight card. He's already penciled in to fight Tszyu. Virgil Ortiz is.
Like, check this out. Hold on.
That's incredible.
Look at this. Tszyu, before this Virgil Ortiz fight, Sebastian Fundora, Brian Mendoza, Carlos Ocampo, for whatever it's worth, Tony Harrison, Terrell Gausha, Takashi Inoue. That's back to back. Look at Virgil Ortiz's resume. If you're that guy, Tomás Dolorme, Frederick Lawson, Michael McKinson, Kavalauskas, Maurice Hooker, Samuel Vargas, Brad Solomon, Antonio Orozco, Mauricio Herrera, like that, you know, like if you look at their resumes, like what their win and loss column, you'd be like, damn, bro, Virgil Ortiz is beating some killers. Like, you're like, damn, bro, like these guys are amazing. Like Maurice Hooker, he's 27-1. His only loss was against Jose Ramirez, and he has 3 draws, right? What about Mean Machine? He's only lost to Terrence Crawford. Like, when you look at the resume, you'd be like, damn, bro, Virgil Ortiz is that dude. You know, if somebody were to tell you any different, they'd be like, nah, bro, Virgil is beating a lot of great contenders that people don't give enough credit to. But contenders at welterweight or lower weights, you know, those things matter because out of all those guys, maybe Mean Machine and Maurice Hooker are the only punchers. But are they punchers? Or have they been checked? Like, there's a lot of questions that you have to ask yourself for Virgil Ortiz that we don't have the answers to. We can only kind of like predict and assume, right? But with Tszyu, we have seen him take a loss. We've seen how he took a loss. He had a big ass cut from an elbow, and he didn't bitch out about it. And he just kept going for 12 rounds, blinded by blood. You know what I'm saying? And still fucking toughing it out, and maybe could have won.
Yeah, so we know that Tszyu has dog, and in fact, Dream, homie Ricky and I, we were talking about this, right? We were talking about whether or not Virgil Ortiz has dog. Let me ask you, Dream, does Virgil Ortiz have dog?
Yeah,
The most that Huh?
I mean, yeah, I mean that's what he's known for. I mean, he's all offense though, you know. So maybe it's not gonna work in his favor against the Tim Tszyu, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's not like I don't think he knows what a 154 pounder feels like yet, you know. And I think
Yeah.
he's gonna find out with Tim Tszyu because Tim Tszyu can trade blow for blow with the top 154 pounder. It's just yeah, he's just been on the shit end of the stick just once, really, like with in his last fight. So I think he's really fighting the top dog and the proven top dog in the division, and he's going straight into the fire, dude. So that's why it's like, damn, no fucking tune up, nothing, bro, because I don't know what it is. Like he doesn't want to fight a Lubin. He doesn't want to prove himself, work his way up. Like it's really crazy, you know. I just feel like there's something going on behind the scenes at the same time, you know. Like I feel like the fact that he got sick isn't no coincidence, you know. Like I think they know something and then they're just trying to work with it, you know. Like health wise, like
Mhm.
there's something up, you know. He can't. He keeps getting sick and he passing out. Like last fight, he passed out. So it's like, what's really going on? You know, like, is he gonna pass out again? Like, knock on wood. You know, like, he's been fighting his last two fights, but you know he got the biggest fight of his life coming up, and how reliable are you? You know, so that's
Mhm.
another thing too. Like, it's only been two fights since he passed out. You know,
And
and
most of them have only been lasting like 1 or 2 rounds, and
and
it's
then
like,
prior
wow,
to him passing out, it was like how many year layoffs? Like how many years did he lay off? Like was
yeah,
he
like
out of the
two,
ring? Like two and a half.
yeah,
Like so, ain't
losing a
nothing.
lot of momentum.
Yeah, so he's just collecting, you know. So it's okay, you know. Like who knows? He can shock the world, man. But
Well, I will say this. I will say this. That liver shot, no matter who he lands it to, if he lands that liver shot to anybody, they're dropping. That's a matter of fact. You know, I asked the question of on whether or not Virgil Ortiz has dog, right? Because the one thing that you have to ask yourself is really what does that mean to have dog? And what you have dog, that means you have a bone to pick, right? You have to have something you're trying to prove. Now, I do agree with what you guys have stated, right? If we look into the last few fights that Virgil Ortiz Jr. has taken on, it wouldn't seem that he has anything to prove, right? He's not going to prove it with Lawson. He's not going to prove it against Lorme. That's not the way to go. He's not going to prove it against, Maurice Hooker, a 140 pound former 140-pound champion. He's not going to do it with those kind of guys. But the one tell that he has is that when you hit Virgil Ortiz flush, he gets angry and
Yup.
he
I like
immediately, I know, I love that. He immediately wants to get that back. That's how you know he has dog.
Tim Tszyu got the same mentality though, bro.
Yup,
They're
yup,
fucking twins,
Well,
you know.
he got. Oh, I'll say this though, he got a little scared with that blood though. It took him
yeah,
like 2-3 rounds to get acclimated and realize, all right, dude, today you're not gonna look pretty. You're in a fucking fight, and he knew that because even in the press conference, he was like, "Man, I haven't felt this way before for a fight. This is a real fight." Because he looked
yeah,
at Thurman like fucking food. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And that's what I'm like. That's gonna be a good ass fight. To El Pachuco's credit,
yeah.
Virgil's gonna bring it. We know that.
yeah, yeah,
But like,
absolutely.
how good can Virgil, receive punishment? Um, and that's what's gonna make it a really good fight, man. Really, really
And it
good
is,
fight.
but
I'm excited for it. All of the questions that I have against Virgil. I'm not saying that I'm not a fan of Virgil. I'm a fan of Virgil, but I have a lot of questions. And this is the fight where Virgil puts it to bed. I am
yeah,
that dude. Yes, I could be a champion. I just haven't had the opportunity. My health has been, taking a toll. I have to get healthy. I have to really understand what's going on with my body. I got to really assess career choices, X,
right.
Y, and Z. And then if he, like, this is when the world is at stage. And to his credit, or to Tim Tszyu's credit, he has a big ass gash with stitches. And guess what? No
Oof.
soft touches. I'm gonna fucking fight an undefeated knockout artist. To
I,
Virgil Ortiz's credit, I've been having these mediocre fights that are lasting less than one fucking minute. I basically have a lot of ring rust for the past 3-4 years of inactivity.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm
Virgil,
to Tszyu. How can you question me that I don't have that, dog? So I mean, there's a lot of things that you can put into certain narratives.
hell yeah.
And yeah, bro, it's gonna be a good ass fight. Like, I'm fucking excited for that shit. Hell
Yeah, me too, bro. Like, I'm Virgil. Virgil needs to go straight at the fucking cut, and he needs to, he needs to try to open it again. Like it's not a dirty tactic. It's just it's a smart way to go at to things. Like he should, if he's able to open that shit up. Oh man, it's game over. But I love their mentalities, bro. They're both gonna fucking bring it, dude. And
Yeah.
what I was gonna fuck,
The
man. I was
question
gonna
is
say-
this:
Yeah.
Are we gonna go to it? Are we gonna?
Wow,
record it?
that's what I've been looking for tickets.
What the fuck?
Every day I've been looking for tickets. Look, you all know my policy, right? I don't like to go to any fights live unless I have ringside seats. And ringside seats are very expensive, right? If I can't get ringside, because as you guys know, the majority of the fights that the homie Ricky posts up from those amateur events, that's me. That's how close I get to the action. I go to the corners, I go to the back stages, I get those type of videos because I need to be there. If I'm just gonna be some guy trying to use binoculars to watch a fight, I won't go. I'd rather just hang out with my family, cook some tri-tip, drink some jarritos, and watch it at the best seat in the house. My lazy
That's
boy.
a lie. I only have like 2 of your fights, bro. Stop lying.
Okay, so you do some of them, all right, whatever.
Hey,
but what I'm
what
trying to say is, if you guys look at that card, guys, like Triple G says, guys, it's the greatest fight card that's ever been. And I absolutely need to go there. If we can get there, guys, I say let's go. I don't want to miss this one, but here's the thing. I know the show is about to end. All of this is happening because of my main man, His Excellency, Turkey Ali Sheik. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I'm his biggest fan. But on the next Life with Warp Speed, we are going to talk about the cracks that are starting to show. And Turkey Ali Sheik and Riyadh Season, and the way that they're going to be impacting the sport of boxing. Nobody is talking about this. Why? Because I'm the only guy that follows that man religiously. And because I know what other people don't, you have to be there on the next Life with Warp Speed. I invite you all there. I hope to go to that tomorrow. But man, I tell you one thing. This one is excellently doing right.
If you go live.
Hold on. Hold the phone, bro. Listen, salute to Turkey Ali Sheik, but he's doing the same mistake that PBC did. Okay, for instance, a lot of people want to give him credit for making Beterbiev versus Bivol. All right, cool. But the thing is this. Thank you for paying these fighters what they want to make this fight happen. But guess what? You don't have to overpay a market to make these fights happen. These fighters...
Oh, no, they intend to. That's the thing.
No, what I'm saying is this. PBC tried to do the same thing. They overpaid these fighters, purses that they weren't going to generate by themselves. And guess what? You fed these dudes excessively. They became very inactive and lost their drive. I don't know how much Bivol and Beterbiev are getting made, but if people don't mess with them or they haven't got into the populace's eye or whatever the case may be, you can't overpay a market just because you understand that they're rare fighters and stuff like that. No.
Let me explain one thing.
The demand meets the supply. You can't just fucking inflate the market and just be like, oh, I'm just going to pump all this out. And no, that's not how things work. A lot of people like to give Turkey Ali Sheik so much credit for mediocre fights. A lot of people forget.
But homie Ricky,
he is responsible for all of these exhibition fights. Remember how he started with Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and KSI and all that fucking farce of fucking fights. That's how he started. Look no further from last year. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Who fucking wants that? Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Are you guys kidding me? And because he gives you 2 good fights, oh my god, he's saving boxing. Stop.
Yeah, he is. He
No,
is.
he's not.
And here's
No,
the
he's
thing.
not.
Here's
Hold
the
on,
thing. You're talking about frivolous fights and the devaluing of the fighter because he gets him paid handsomely. Here's the thing. All of those questions are questions of character.
hold on.
When you consider a baby Charlo taking on the biggest fight of his career and selling that booty and never fighting again and taking a whole year hiatus because he became a multimillionaire on account of losing to Canelo Alvarez, guess what? Canelo Alvarez has lost, made millions, and
No,
came
we're
back
not-
to fight
we're not
even more
talking
for more
about-
millions.
hold on. We're not talking about Canelo and all of these things. So what I'm trying to say is this: he has a duty to bring Riyadh and these big fights and create basically a Las Vegas for his people in Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's what he's trying to do. And as he's doing that, he's trying to get the very big popular fights. Okay, that doesn't mean the popular fights are the greatest fights. By the way, he's just trying to generate buzz. That's why all of his people in attendance, they're not common folk like you and me. They're the 1%. They're Cristiano Ronaldo. They're actors. They're actresses, and things of that nature. Look,
And homie Ricky, he's bringing the same. He's bringing the biggest card to America in LA. What are you complaining about?
Listen, wait. I'll get to that, and I will let you speak your
You'll
nonsense.
get to that. You'll get to that.
This fight in America is a decent fight. It is not a pay-per-view
Dude,
card.
I'm about to hang. Oh my God, I'm about to hang up now. This is where I go
Hang up.
because this is ridiculous.
Hold on. What I'm trying to say is this: Bud Crawford versus a guy who has 10 fights, Madrimov. That's a pay-per-view fight. Okay, exactly. Vergil Ortiz versus Tszyu. Is that a pay-per-view fight? Okay. Big Back Miller. He just robbed some.
You're ridiculous. All of those are.
Hold on. Versus a 2-3 year inactive Andy Reese. That's pay-per-view for you?
Yep.
No, what I'm saying is the totality of it is a very good, decent card. They're nice. They're relatively popular fighters with some decent momentum.
Hey, he said decent, guys. He said decent. Not the greatest fight card that's ever been, but decent. He says an undefeated. He says two undefeated fighters. One of them, a two-time undisputed fighter who just sold 700,000 pay-per-view fights, beating the crap out of my favorite 147-pound fighter, 3-belt division holder, the Tejano Errol Spence Jr. He destroyed that guy, and somehow Terence Crawford moving up to try to go for undisputed in his 3rd division against an undefeated fighter who people are calling the next Triple G is not a pay-per-view event. Okay, he's also saying that the man who we just talked about the whole time, Vergil Ortiz, going up to fight who I just called and have been calling the Australian Canelo, Tszyu, is not a pay-per-view event, even though they were just in a pay-per-view event and one of the most eye-attracting fights in recent history, the most violent affair, the most bloody affair that has been in the past, decade? That's not a pay-per-view event. Okay, Pitbull Cruz. No, wait. Rayo Valenzuela versus who is it? Pitbull Cruz is not a pay-per-view event? No, because Pitbull Cruz has never been in incredible fights being sold as a pay-per-view fighter. No, he has not, right? He has not. So all of these names that have been in hellacious fights that have made the news, none of these fighters are pay-per-view events. And the totality of them, like he said, it's a decent card. Ridiculous, homie Ricky. Ridiculous. You just paid. Didn't you just pay for Ryan Garcia $80 and you're talking about decent?
Let me put it
ridiculous.
Let me put it to you like this. Yes, Bud Crawford is coming off an amazing performance and a whole lot of momentum versus Errol Spence. Bud Crawford, there's nothing bad to say about him. But who's Madrimov? The next Triple G. Bro, I'm the next fucking Canelo Alvarez. How about that?
No, you're not. No, you're not.
So neither
no,
is
you're not. No, you're not.
A guy with 10 fights, I'm not going to give him the praise of putting him up there against a guy with Triple G. That's crazy. The next,
you know, can I tell you something about a fighter with 10 fights?
He pumps his chest and just walks very straight when he walks towards this corner. Give me a fucking break.
Do you know anything about Israel Madrimov?
Hold on. Who's Andy Ruiz again? Oh, the guy who fucked off an amazing performance, probably the greatest story since Buster Douglas, and he fucking partied and did cocaine with Baby Bash and fucking what? Got beat by Joshua and he's never been seen since. Y'all hold it down, bro.
Oh, God forbid. Okay, God forbid. Here's the thing, all right?
Can I say my
If you
piece?
guys don't know anything about Israel Madrimov, he's a very highly touted, accomplished amateur fighter that has gotten a belt in less than 10 fights and is undefeated in a majority of his fights and the knockouts and overclassing his opponents, okay? We just talked about how Terence Crawford is a good fighter.
What?
That we just looked at all of his record and say, who's his best win? Who's his best win, Dream? Errol Spence? Yorkis Gamboa? I mean, if you guys are giving credit to Terence Crawford, then what's the difference between giving Madrimov a chance? Madrimov,
Crawford is a 135 pounder.
yeah, and you know what you can do with 10 fights? With 10 fights under your belt, you can do what Lomachenko did, which is become a 3-division champion by beating some of the undefeated fighters like Gary Russell Jr. in his third fight.
But he's still a 135 pounder. Like,
yeah,
it's all about
but he did that in 10 fights.
Yeah, but he didn't go into any dangerous divisions. Like he actually, it is dangerous, but not as dangerous as Crawford's path. Crawford moved up in the heat of the boxing divisions, bro. Like he undisputed in multiple divisions, bro. Yeah, I don't even know what your guys' argument was before this, but
what he's trying to say is that this fight card that I called the greatest fight card that's ever been is decent. Now, I want you to tell me if you. That's what he said. He said it was nothing more than decent. He said that any of those fights that are being put in there are not pay-per-view events, even though all of those fighters, for the most part, have been in massively well-sold pay-per-view events. And he says that the sum of all of those fights only make a decent card. And somehow we should chastise and criticize Turki Ali Sheikh on account of he is spoiling these fighters. Now let me ask you something. Why is he spoiling these fighters, Dream?
Okay, so it's bigger than this. It's bigger than boxing. It's bigger than, it has to do with this fund that they got, and it's pretty much their oil money, and Turkey's not even like in charge of that money. It's like this other, like the Saudi money, like it's like a fund, and they're trying to, like, I forget how many billions that they got, but they're pretty much trying to distribute it because it used to be used for oil, and now they're trying to distribute it, and they're trying to distribute it to multiple assets and asset classes, and that's their way. They're just trying to have it there, and they're just trying to spread out their wealth pretty much, and just so they can own it, and then they have, you know they call the shots, and they call their governments, and so that's what's been happening in golf. Pretty much, they pretty much took over golf and took over like 90% of their golf talent. And then what happened though is that more US talent came up, and so it was kind of a good thing. But yeah, no, that Saudi money, it's bigger, bro. Like they're trying to spread out their wealth, and they're trying to flip their money differently now. So their goal is just to monopolize shit. They're trying to get a monopoly on everything, and they're trying to own pretty much boxing now. It doesn't matter what price it is, they're just trying to own it. And it's bigger than this, bro. Like of course they're gonna overpay. They're gonna overpay everything. That's what's happening. They're overpaying golfers. They're paying, and they're buying other way more sports, but that's what's happening with Saudis, bro. And it's it's gonna last for like a couple years, like 5 to 10 years, maybe. That's what they're saying, because that's how long the funds are planned to like last. And yeah, no, they have a like this mutual fund pretty much, and they're gonna take over everything pretty much, and they're pretty much teamed up with the Zone, and the Zone's just taking it all in, and they're the ones that are putting this thing together. You can blame the Saudis. I preferred Terrence to fight somebody else because, I mean, we just barely started talking about this dude a couple of weeks ago, calling him baby Triple G. And then it's like Crawford heard it and he was running with it. You know, he was like, yeah, Triple G, I'm fighting him, but baby. You know, like, it's like, fuck, bro. Like, I mean, he's still fucking yet to be proven. Like, I like what I've seen, you know, but I want him to get W's over dudes that are in his position trying to fight for a world title belt, like Crawford's, you know. And instead, he just fights Crawford right away. Like I wanted him to fight for the right to be in the conversation, to fight Crawford. Like he wasn't even in this conversation of Crawford's next potential fights, you know. So that's what's kind of creating an outrage. Um, and it's like, bro, like you just decided to hit us with the left. You know, he came out with left field with that one. You know, like it's kind of like it's gonna be a hard fight though. Like honestly, it's gonna be a very tough fight. Terrence is gonna have a hard time with this dude, and it's because of his punch placement. Um, he does. I just seen one fucking fight, and I gotta remember how he fought. You know, because he actually looked very much like fucking Triple G, but with like less power, and he just comes in at different angles. I think he has good footwork, lighter on his feet compared to like Triple G. Triple G was more based, like he was more flat-footed. This guy's more, in his tippy toes sometimes, but no, he does really good. He has a really good jab. Um, yeah, no, he comes in with different angles, and he just kind of. I remember his last fight, he just kept tagging this dude in his face, bro. Like he was like unpredictable with his punch variety. You know, like he was throwing them off. So that's what he does, bro. And it's just Crawford has good defense, and it's just this guy does have good pop, but I just seen like a small sample size of this guy, so I still need to like check him out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he,
no, 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 you're right. No, you're right. I understand. It looks very questionable, right? That there would be a champion at a glamour weight like 154 and Isra Madrimov. But rest assured that he is a champion. He won it against the number 2 guy at the vacancy after baby Charlo abandoned all the belts and he decided not to give a dates to his defenses. But he did become a champion. He's one of the 4 champions out there, like Sebastian Fundora, and I guess there's even a James Metcalf and Bakram Murdesaliev as champions, right? I mean, if you want to go against anybody, I mean, the fact that Terence Crawford is an undisputed fighter, he gets to fight for first dibs at any of those fighters. The WBA, the WBC, all of those guys promote the champions, especially the undisputed, from a lower weight class to go up to the next division up and fight him. So of course he had a shot against Sebastian Fedora, having beaten Tim Tszyu, but Tim Tszyu did say, and Fedora did acknowledge that they had an agreement, a bond from their word that they would run it again. So that fight is out of the question. So of course he wants to fight. And here's the thing: Turkey Ali Sheikh wants to see Israel Madrimov versus Terence Crawford. Now, again, I've mentioned this before. Turkey Ali Sheikh has a very vast library of boxing events, boxing matches, and he also has a whole group of people dedicated to studying fighters, breaking their styles, doing the potentials. And I wouldn't even be surprised, Dream, that they have something closer to like what the Oakland Days used to have in the '90s and in the 2000s. Remember when they used to do that Moneyball thing where they would get stats? I assure you that they're doing stats in order to match up fighters. That's how you get those kind of fighters. Madribov versus Crawford. I'm telling you, Turkey Ali Sheikh, even though he has an infinitesimal amount of money, he's not just gonna pay big bucks to a fighter that isn't good.
well, no,
He
he does
wants
what's
to see
right
those
for he.
fights.
Yeah, no, like he's gonna overpay fighters, but I'm saying I've seen like uh I'm not a hater of what's his name,
Turkey,
Turkey. Yeah, I'm not a
Big
hater. Like,
Turk.
I actually, yeah, I'm not a hater. Like, I actually like what he's doing, and I think he actually listens to like little like podcast shows, and
You
because
got it.
he actually gives us what he likes sometimes,
Yeah,
but he actually does what's right for boxing, for the most part. I mean, not this fight though. I mean, I think the fact that he lives out there in Saudi, he's hearing a lot of hype from this guy. Us from us all the way from the other side of the pond. It's like, bro, we've only got to see this guy once. Like in the undercard. Like I don't even think it was on pay per view. Like I think it was like a yeah, it wasn't even on pay per view. It was like on YouTube and shit. But yeah, no, he's good, man. It's just like fuck, man. Let us get more of a sample size than this, man. Like, I think it's him just hearing his his whoever he works with, and someone damn well that's from his country, barking up this tree, and saying like, yeah, give us this fight, like it'll sell out. But and maybe it's the money thing too. Maybe he's the only one that's willing to take this amount of money um to fight a dude like Crawford, you know. So we'll see.
yeah, yeah. But here's the other thing, though, Dream. What do you think about the fact that Turkey is bringing the biggest fight card that's ever been lined up, not to his country, but to America, and of all places, California, of all places,
It's good.
a
Okay, it's not the I
population.
agree. Okay, like I'm looking at the card right now.
Mhm.
I'm I'm impressed, but it's not. I think
Let's
it's.
see.
I can see why he's saying what he's saying. Like he thinks really highly of David Morrell and Hot Rod. That's a good fight, but I think in reality they're not gonna be uh top dogs when it's all said and done. Like I think they're very beatable, and that's a co-main right there. I think. If anything, Virgil versus Tim should have been like, you know, that's like more main event worthy. Nah, I don't even think so because Virgil don't deserve it really. But um, yeah, Isaac Cruz versus Rayo. See, that one should be like like a co-main or something. But yeah, that's another good fight. But after that, it's like you got Andy Cruz and Jarrell Miller. Like those dudes are like kind of falling off, and they're not really like active and stuff. And one cheats, and the other one just fucking cheats outside of the ring with food, and
Undercard.
shit. But
Let me look at this. Where did you get this list? Because, let me see. Okay, let's see. Let's run it again.
and
Right.
then
So,
Andy Cruz, who's trained uh Bozy Ennis,
okay.
the Puerto Rican dude, or not Puerto
Yeah.
Rican but
Yeah. Yeah.
Cuban.
Yeah. Yeah. Cuban.
He's fighting Antonio Moran.
Yeah.
So that's a good fight. I mean, but it's not like big. I see where he's coming from. I see where Rick is coming from. Like it's
Yeah.
not.
Okay, guys, but it's the potentials. Like, for example, okay, see, you can't just say, oh, who do I know? Right? Because if you look at this fight card, there's so much that I am very interested in. Like, for example, you guys didn't really feel too excited about Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Jarrell Miller. Well, here's the thing: Jarrell Miller is just coming off of a loss, so it's not like he's coming off of a win fighting an Andy Ruiz who hasn't fought in
Yeah.
a year and a
See.
half. Jarrell has lost. Andy Ruiz last fight was a win, right? But both of them have been rather inactive. The only thing is, Jarrell Miller got to fight a 12 rounder against what was it, Dubois,
Yeah.
and he
Got
lost.
knocked out,
Yeah, he got stopped. Yeah, 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 he got stopped. Was he
bro.
knocked out?
He just got knocked out by no, he got knocked down, not like pretty much TKO. By he's a
Mhm.
cruiserweight, bro. He's a cruiserweight. He came up from cruiserweight
Who
division.
are you
Dubois.
talking about? Oh, really? Daniel
Oh
Dubois
no,
is
I'm wrong.
no, he's a heavyweight. He's that big old bald black guy. He
I'm
looks
getting him
cool. Like he
confused.
has a very
I'm
cool.
getting him. I'm getting him confused
Oh,
with
don't say Jaya Bataya.
no, no. I was gonna say Okoye. I think it's his name. I think that's his name.
Okoli? Nah, he
Okoye.
would never fight like that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Okoli's
I
such a
get him. I
boring
get him.
fighter.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then he did all right with Usyk. So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, he
Anyways,
did. So okay, so you have one guy. This last fight was about a year and a half. Andy Ruiz, and he won. Jarrell Miller has been out of the sport for about 2 years on account of his not passing drug tests, and he lost. So to me, that's pretty much a 50-50, especially when you consider the fact that Andy Ruiz has beaten a three-time belt holder and Joshua, and he's also fought men like what was his name, that Luis Ortiz. When you look at Jarrell Miller's record, yeah, he had a fight most recently, so he's a little more
but he's
active.
fucking big, dude.
He is big, but what did you say about muscles? They don't promote
It's not even
movement.
muscle though. It's just a mass, bro.
Water
He's
weight.
a he's a like
For real, he doesn't look like that, huh?
yeah, and eventually, I mean, weight is weight, you know. But I think Andy has the faster hands, and he should yeah get him out of there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, okay, are you interested for Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Jose Rayo Valenzuela?
What
Remember,
was that?
Jose Venezuela knocked out the black Mexican, Kobe, and Isaac Pitbull Cruz. You know,
Oh, Pitbull's gonna knock him out.
yeah, that's what the Pachuco said. Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna knock him out. I didn't know what you were asking at first. I was like, what? Nah,
but you
dude,
don't
that's
think Jose Venezuela has a punch that he could get in and, and sneak by Pitbull Cruz and maybe hurt him?
nah. He's better off just boxing him out. And he's just better off just doing that every round and avoiding him playing toro with him. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and just and just fucking. That's his best shot. I mean, he should not be in a firefight with this guy. Like he is not. He just his chin is way too low.
Hmm.
You're too tall. You don't got the leverage on him. Um, so that's why dudes like Tank had like he was shorter, so he had the leverage. He actually could hit him with an overhand right. I mean, like with an uppercut, because he had the leverage, to do it. But Rayo got to get real low, and he's exposing himself. So, dude, like you gotta outbox him. You can't. You got to do what kind of Giovanni Cabrera did, like, but at a higher level. And I think he
Hmm.
does got it in him, but Cabrera has his better style. Like his style was better suited to beat a dude like and as Pitbull Cruz. So Rayo's kind of there to get hit. So that's what I'm saying. Pitbull knockout, and then put that with the parlay. Sheesh.
Man, and of course, the one that has already been penciled in for that date, and all we need to hear is the confirmation announcement. But of course, we have Virgil Ortiz versus Tszyu. That's going to be a hell of an addition to that one. So
Ooh, oh yeah.
I am very happy for all these fights. This is actually up there and as good, not the best, but
I think
if
Tim.
we compare it.
I think Tim Tszyu can actually get Virgil out of there. Like I really do think that. I think he's gonna be too aggressive for his own good, and they're gonna have to like throw in the tail like for taking too many shots
What?
or something, bro.
Oh my God, you guys, man, you guys have a wild imagination. Like,
You see it,
man,
bro, because
I
dude,
can't. Look. All I keep thinking about. Look, maybe I'm just
he's there to get hit, dude. Like honestly, like no, I'm
when did
saying
he get hit? When did he ever get hit?
no, I'm saying like the opponents that he faced weren't taking advantage of it,
Yeah,
So
true, true.
like Delorme, he had a
Yeah.
fast jab and he was hitting him with some good body shots. He just didn't want to go upstairs, and I think Tim Zoo, I don't know how he's gonna take fucking Virgil's power though. So we'll see. So I want to see how tough. I want to see how hard fucking Virgil punches. I was just thinking about that. So yeah, I
I
still
just
think
keep
he could take him
thinking
though.
about that liver shot. I
But this
keep
is the thing
thinking
though.
about that liver
He
shot.
doesn't. Virgil ain't punching harder than Gachet. That's one thing. He ain't punching harder than Gachet. And Gachet is more like on like he's more like he has a stronger foundation, you know, and he's more of a full fledged 154 pounder, and Tim Tszyu was able to work with him, but he just got caught real quick, you know, like it was like a flash knockdown. He wasn't really
Yeah.
like hurt or anything. So I think he's gonna be able. I think he's maybe he's gonna be able to take Virgil's power, bro. And I can see him just being in the box with him and not taking his power serious, and being like, "Why not? You just you don't punch hard, but you do give high effort. He's a high effort guy, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, the one thing I will say in defense of Virgil Ortiz is that I don't know. I haven't seen too many fights of Terrell Goucher, so I won't say that Virgil Ortiz is stronger or less harder of a hitter than Goucher in that case. But I will say this: the fight when I seen him fight
it is
Tim
gonna
Tszyu.
revolutionize during an apocalypse.
What are you talking about, man? Oh, you're
Pachuco.
responding. You're responding, right? What I'm saying is that uh, I don't think Taro Goucher throws as many punches or is there to really engage and try to knock out people as much as Virgil Ortiz. And all I keep thinking about is that hellacious middleweight power that obviously Virgil Ortiz has. That liver shot, if he lands it to anybody, they're falling. The homie Ricky is of the impression that that only happened because Delorme is one, a former sparring partner, so Virgil already knows what he can and cannot do to that guy, and two, Delorme was a 140-pound fighter at once,
That's true.
so maybe that's the other thing, and secondly, the fight had barely started, and Delorme had already been out in a 2-year layoff by that time. I get all of those things, right? But I don't think I don't think a liver shot is really avoided because you're an active fighter. You have to have proper defense. And I'm not saying Tim Tszyu doesn't. In fact, he has great defense. He does get hit a couple of times in the face, but that's because he's making these calculated judgments that he could take some of your punches, but he's gonna time or counter them much better, and that he respects his power more so. But we are talking about a middleweight fighter now. Can Virgil Ortiz come down to 154 safely? Because his last fight was at 156 something. He really has been fighting at middleweight for the past two fights now. What do you think, Dream? Can he really come down to 154? I think he's gonna have to. I think
Yeah, we'll
the
see if he
money's
can
too
even
good.
make it.
Well, the money's too good. The chances are too good. He's not gonna have a break right now. All he has to do is nutrition,
And
nutrition, exercise, starting right now.
yeah, and it's only like what 2 pounds away from his actual what is he's actually supposed to weigh in at. Because I mean, if you're fighting for a belt, you're gonna have to weigh in on weight, you know. So he's gonna have to fight, you know. Oh, it's not for a belt. I'm tripping. I'm tripping, huh? It's not for a belt.
Wait, no, no, I
No,
guess not, huh?
yeah, no. They're let's see. So
Oh wow.
yeah, no, like I think Virgil could surprise us, man. But I mean, yeah, it's just a regular bout. But yeah, no, I think Virgil's pretty good. I think it's just his level of opposition, and I mean, his last guy was his sparring partner, you
I
know,
did not know
and the
that.
last guy. And the last guy prior to that just looked really shitty. Frederick Lawson. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, bro, like he just looked. None of his opponents have looked great. You know, just
yeah.
by themselves. You know, like regardless of what Virgil did to them, like they just did not look good. So I'm like, man, what kind of level of opposition you facing? You know, and McKinson, I don't remember watching that, but I mean, I don't think I
McKinson
watched
was
it.
uh McKinson was a very good fighter, southpaw if not mistaken. Very good kid, very respectable. He does not duck fights. He wanted
Yeah, yeah,
the chance, and he really, really wanted to buy Virgil Ortiz. It didn't work out for
yeah.
him
No,
though.
he went all the way to the ninth round with him. So I
Yeah.
think someone like Tim Tszyu can make the distance with him, and that's what I'm saying. Like how is Virgil gonna react to this full fledged 154 pounder? You know, like this is a different dude, bro. Like Aegis Velasquez. I mean, do you remember watching that fight?
Yeah, but I don't remember the details anymore.
Okay, so he knocked him out in the eighth round. I mean, so how good is that guy? How good is Aegis? You know, like he went all the way to the eighth round. So like this level of opposition is going to the in the later rounds with this guy already. You know, and even a Maurice Hooker, a smaller dude. You know, so those dudes don't really pack a punch unless Aegis kind of, you know, he didn't get dropped by him. So, dude, I don't think Tim Zoo's gonna feel any of this guy's punches, bro. Like, I think Tim Zoo's got a chin, bro. I'm telling you, he's got a fucking chin. Um, he throws while he gets hit, bro. Like he does not give no shits, bro. And he's got the same mentality of Virgil, if anything. You know, it's just Tim is built different. Tim probably gonna be walking around a whole different weight, you know, and during fight night. On top of that,
Mhm.
you know, like he's
Yeah.
gonna be weighing in, and then Virgil's gonna gain very few pounds because he been good, like he's been all right, you know, like he's already moving up in weight, so I don't know how much he's gonna replenish weight he's gonna replenish, but I know Tim Zoo is gonna be like like me, 180, 185.
Yeah.
You know,
Dream, let me ask you this, because we're on this
or less than that, like 170 maybe. But yeah,
mhm. Let me ask you, just because it's still a valid question, and I'm not too sure if you answered it. Medi had asked about, an hour ago, which of these 100% KO artists will lose their win streak. So obviously, the best way to answer that fight is the first guy who has the next fight, right? Because that's the first person that could lose them. So it's not really the question of who will lose their win streak first. It should be in which fight will they lose. Like for example, Petreviev is gonna be fighting Bivol. Subriel Matai is gonna be fighting Liam Paro. Liam Paro fought another fighter that was undefeated just like him. I can't remember what his name is, but it was a very big important fight for
Montana Love.
elimination. No, no, no. Liam Paro fought uh, uh, Jarvis, something Jarvis. Brock Jarvis, I think. Yeah, I remember because he had like two last names that sounded very hard. Jarvis is Face Jarvis is a video gamer that my
Mm.
kid knows, and then there's Brock. And I remember the combination of names because there's Brock Lesnar, and of course Jarvis, right? Well, those two guys were undefeated. Those two guys were knockout artists. They both were the next guys up from Australia, and Eddie Hearn hosted that big old event over there. And if I'm not
I've
mistaken,
never, I've
Liam
never seen
Paro
Liam
knocked out.
Paro.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Liam Paro knocked out Brock Jarvis, or Jarvis Brock, in the first
Mm.
round.
Okay,
And now
I've never seen him
he,
fight before.
yeah, and that's the only fight that I've seen, but I was very impressed. And everything else from there, it's been like a year and a half of not fighting, and it's been injuries after injuries. I think he
Yeah.
sustained
Matter of fact, I actually watched
mhm.
some highlights of him versus Montana Love. He looked all right. Um, yeah, I
Oh
need to
yeah,
see.
he's the one who knocked out Matana Love.
Yeah, yeah, that's impressive right there because Montana Love is explosive, and he's
Yep.
got good fundamentals. It's just, you know, his chin. You know, it's questionable, but no, he did good. Like he was actually smaller, the smaller guy. Like in that fight, like he's like compact kind of, you know, but he's you know, like he looks like he packs a punch too. So
Mhm.
I need to see more of him. You know, like I haven't seen him. Like what's important is how a fighter starts. You know, in the
Yeah.
fight, like that's always kind of like that says a lot about them, like how they start. You know, so I need to see how he starts and shit. Like
Yeah.
what type of
So
fighter.
so let me ask you: can Bivol lose? Can Petreviev lose to Bivol? Yes or no?
Can Bertserbiev lose to Bivol?
Yeah. What are the odds
Uh,
that he loses to him?
um, I think he can get. outbox. Like I think he can just lose every single round to Bivol. Type not every single round, but like I think he can. Because Bivol's very strategic. You know, like he wants to fill you out, and he's gonna fill you out like in different ways, like no Diddy, but you know, and he wants to you know, and he
Oh
wants to
man.
see, you know, like he's gonna want to bait him in. Like he's very strategic, you know, and so I think Better Be just isn't like that, you know, like he doesn't think like that, you know. He just
Wow,
always
you're
kind of
crazy. Beterbiev is one of the best fighters out there in the sport right now.
no. He like that's what I'm saying. Like his style is like kind of hard to beat, you know. Like he's very come
Oh, okay.
forward, and he's you know, he can set it up, but like he just kind of gets outboxed sometimes. Like he's very strong and he's very explosive, but it's just Bivol kind of is a thinker too, you know, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's matched. It matches with his athleticism, you know, and he thinks with his feet sometimes, and he moves around really well. Like I think he's gonna be very hard to hit, but and we've seen Bivol take some hard punches. You know, we've seen him how he reacts, and he's you know, he's very reactive. He's very fundamental. Like so I think he can get a unanimous because his last fight he couldn't get a knockdown for shit, man. Like he just kind of whatever his last opponent was,
Uh,
Arthur, I
yeah, yeah,
forget
yeah.
it. I got it right last time, but Arthur something. But yeah, no, he was taking every single one of his punches, and he was
Arthur.
you know, he was having a hard time finishing it. You know, so it's
And he
just I don't.
tried. That guy was one of those guys that you actually can tell that he tried.
So the only type of evidence I can see, like, there's this video of Bivol getting touched, and I can see Better be kind of doing the same thing too. I forget which fight it was, but it was really just one time where this one fight where Bivol got fucking wobbled. I think like he got touched. Fuck, I think it was Pascal or I might be wrong, but um, just that one fight. There's literally just one highlight of Bivol getting touched like that, you know, and getting wobbled. Like not all crazy. It's just he needed to reset his footing type of thing, and he didn't get dropped either. Like it was a tough, hard punch that he got clipped hit on. But um, I can see Bivol landing one, but um, he's gonna be able to, you know, reset his footing type of thing. Because Better Be um, he has a hard time finishing fights sometimes, but uh, I think Bivol has a chin, bro. Yeah, a granite fucking chin. He's gonna go. It's gonna go the distance, bro. I should bet the distance, and then fucking Munguia by decision, and then fucking uh, what's his name? Andy Ruiz by knockout. Tim Zoo by knockout.
Whoa.
Tim Zoo by knockout. $100 on that. That sounds like a
Yeah,
bet.
yeah. That's not a bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
I'm gonna see the.
I will
I'm
say
gonna see. I'm
this:
gonna see right now.
we have seen Beterbiev get dropped, so
Hmm.
that there is some antecedents to say that Beterbiev can get dropped. I just don't think that Bivol is the guy to knock him down. He couldn't, like I said, he couldn't beat Arthur, whatever his name is, with that beautiful skin color. But he couldn't knock that guy, and I know Bivol tried to because there was a round that must have been like the 10th, 11th round where Bivol threw a, like a 15 piece, like boom, 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 and the guy just showed up, and then he didn't do nothing. So
Yup,
Pierre
Joe Smith.
Matthias,
My bad.
what's his
Um.
name?
Okay. So El Pachuco, he goes. Bivol got rocked by Joe Smith. He was saved by the bell. Yeah, Joe Smith landed a
Yeah,
good one on him, bro. And
yeah.
I was like, oh shit. So that's really the only evidence right there, bro. Like that can see like or a scenario where you know Better Be like lands a good one on Bivol. So there's that little chink in his armor right there, but not too crazy.
Lynn
Um,
and Arthur.
Lennon Arthur. There we go. He went the distance with him, and
Yeah,
he took every single one of his punches. He was like, "Come on, bring it,"
yeah,
and
yeah.
Bivol was like, "All right, boom, 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 boom," and then he didn't do nothing. He did
He
land,
didn't
and
do nothing.
but he won the round, and
Nothing.
that's all he does. He doesn't drop you. I
Yeah,
mean,
he can't
so
drop. And here's the other
he's
guy,
capable. He's capable.
Matthias. Matthias can definitely get dropped. He's been dropped before, right? Um, uh, well, he had a draw or something like that. And then he ended up redeeming that guy. I don't know. I can't remember what that fight was. Uh, I mean, is Subriel Matthias even an undefeated fighter?
No, he won. He lost once.
Yeah, okay. That there you go. So I guess that answers that question. Who's the first guy to lose that 100% knockout? Uh, it would be Subriel Matthias. I knew he had beaten the guy who ended up initially beating him. So there's that. And of course, the other one would be uh, you know, well, there's Antoine Russell, right? Antoine Russell, and the other undefeated fighter that he just mentioned. Who was it again? Um, Goodness. Who was the
Who?
other guy that has a 100% knockout rate? Oh, Virgil Ortiz. So, wow, yeah, I would say if I had to say, would Liam Paro knock out Subriel more than Bivol would knock out Beterbiev, or more than Tim Tszyu would knock out Virgil, or Gary Antoine Russell that I've never actually seen fight, I would say Virgil Ortiz probably is the most likely to be knocked out.
I think
Uh,
so, bro. Like I don't think he's ready for those punches, bro. And we're gonna see though. We're gonna see the barometer, like what level is he at? So um, if he goes the distance with this guy, then that's a point right there. I'm like, all right, like you got it. Like you can, like it's either he loses decision
yeah.
or wins decision. Either way, there's gonna be things that he's gonna be working on.
Now let me
So yeah.
pose to you. Let me pose to you the opposite question. What is the likelihood that Petroviev can knock out Bivol, Subriel Matias can knock out Liam Paro, Virgil Ortiz can knock out Timsu? In that order, who do you think has the best odds at knocking out their opponent?
Well, I don't know even Pato that much, so I can't really
But you know
speak
Subriel
much
though.
on that.
But you know Subriel.
Yeah, and not that like yeah, like two fights, bro. Like nah, like I think Sabril, um, fuck man, I need to. That's the thing, bro. Is in styles mixed fight. I need to know more on Elan Paro. Like because Sabril, the way he starts fast. He don't stop, and I need to see how Elan Paro starts. What type of fighter is he when he starts? Like, does he carry on the same style? Does he change it up? How many, like what type of moves does he got? Like I've seen some highlights of him and he's still exposed. Like it doesn't matter if Subriel gets hit, like he's gonna come forward. So what type of opposition has he been going against too? So like I need to see that um but for now I know more on Subriel, so obviously it's gonna be Subriel by
Yeah.
knockout. That's the only way he knows how to win. That's the thing.
So that one is going to be hard for you to break to really make a judgment on because you haven't seen enough of Subriel. But let's do
Uh,
this.
uh,
We have seen
I
enough of Virgil. We have seen enough of Timmy. We have seen enough of Arthur, and we have seen enough of Dmitry. Will Beterbiev have better odds at knocking out Bivol than Virgil Ortiz knocking out Timsu?
I
And I
think
don't think
Virgil.
so. I think Virgil would knock out Tim Tszyu first before Beterbiev would knock out Bivol.
Nah, nah. I think so. There's a higher probability of. I feel like there's a higher probability of Better Beef and Bivol knocking each other out. Both vice versa. Those
Wow.
those both have a higher probability than Virgil knocking out Tim Tszyu. And I think the highest probability is Tim Tszyu knocking out Virgil. That's my take. Dude, you don't know this, dude. Like, I just know, bro. I
Well, I'm
know
not gonna
this.
question you. You're the one who made $30 into 1,400.
I know this, dude. I know this shit. When I seen JoJo get hurt, I was like, I seen that 2 fights ago. I seen that last fight. I seen that. And I was like, dude, like I'm telling you, like he's not tall like fucking like Fondora. And Tim Tszyu was still hurting that boy. Bro, dude, knockout. By like not knockout, like I just don't know how he's gonna react. But I just feel like they're gonna be like, oh, you're taking too much punishment type of shit because you're like too tough for your own good and you're not gonna stop getting punched type of thing, like, you know, type of thing. They're like, all right, let's stop the punishment type of thing, like it might be like that. But that's I'm telling you that I'm putting a bet on that. That's my bet. That's my recommend. Oh, Tim Tszyu over Virgil, pretty much. But like that's I'm just like you know I'm just like thinking on that, like like that's a very good bet. You know,
I
nice.
agree,
Just
man. I
and
agree.
and then I'm gonna get a I'm gonna hedge it. I'm gonna hedge it, and then with some safe ones so I can get the money back if I can. But
El
yeah, nah.
Pachuco states El Pachuco states, I'll admit, Virgil is my favorite fighter. I'm biased. I take Robert Garcia's opinions about Virgil as my barometer of Virgil's talent in addition to what I see in his fights. Virgil KOs Tszyu. Yeah, and that's not a problem. El Pachuco to have a favorite fighter. I admit my favorite fighter is Vasily Lomachenko, and I will that's the one guy that I'll fight tooth and nails for defending, right? We just have our own fighters. The only thing we should ask ourselves,
I
Pachuco,
don't have a favorite fighter, bro. Like honestly, I'm thinking about that. I don't have one.
really?
Like I think it's no Oscar. Oscar De La Hoya was like my first. No, okay. I'm more of the old school fighters, bro. Like I'm more like the Roy Jones Jr. fan.
Yeah,
That was the dude. But I don't like glamorize these guys like too much. Like I don't like literally have no feelings. Like yeah, if Errol Spence won, then I would have been like, oh yeah, that's the guy right there. But you know, it is what it is.
yeah. No, well, I mean, there's something I respect about a little guy that's trying to test himself, and never ducks a fight and never makes money a condition for why he shouldn't take a fight. Um, Lomachenko is a person that doesn't act like a clown, just takes the fights, win or lose. He gives it 100% in every single fight. I can respect that. You don't have to be a complete winner. You don't have to necessarily you know be my skin color. Otherwise, I want it to be like, for example, if Lomachenko could be a Mexican, Lomachenko, I'd be all for him, and that's the reason why I'm very much in hype of Steven Navarro, because he is gonna be the Chicano Vasily Lomachenko, the Lomachenko of Inglewood, California, some part of LA, I guess. But yeah, I love that aggressive, come forward, crafty footwork, southpaw style that men like Lomachenko bring. So that's the reason. But yeah, no, El Pachuco, I admit, I like Virgil a lot. I like the way he conducts himself. I like the way he wraps up his fights. There really is no reason why we can't give that fighter a chance. But just off, the records, the conditions, the intangibles at the moment, when you sum all of those things together, there's really no way you can bet against Tim Tszyu, because he's just set himself up to always be better prepared than the next guy.
And that's
And
the thing. Virgil's a is not a full fledged like 154 pounder. Like like Tim Tszyu has been hydrating at this weight for a long time. Like his body is acclimated to being
Mhm.
at 154 at a certain amount. Like that's his he. So you peak, right? Like when you're like losing weight, like you physically you peak as a fighter, and you feel like at your best. And after that, you kind of eat too much, and then you get bloated. But sometimes if you do it right, you don't eat that much. You're like full, kind of. You're in really good shape. But honestly, like how does Virgil peak? You know, like his peak is probably at 147 because he has the stature. Like once he loses all the weight, like he punches. Like there's a saying called, oh, he got middleweight power. He got, like he probably still punches like a welterweight,
Mhm.
like when he's actually because when you're tired, you lose, you're not at your best as you were in the first round. Um,
Yeah.
so it's like Virgil is he gonna have the power to have the respect, in the later rounds if he makes it that far, like, and how is he gonna react, like, you know, like I don't know, I just feel like there's been a lot of bad luck in Robert Garcia's corner, with JC Ramirez. Like he won the fight, but look at how he took the punches. I mean, if if Virgil can go punch a punch with him, that's cool and all, but how is he gonna react to these punches? Because you can feel like you won, but look at fucking Ramirez, like he's all it's kind of a bitter taste after the win, because of how it went down and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
what's more important is, well, how is your durability? What's your chin? Where's your chin at? Because that's still up in the air. Like I'm going with what I see on tape, and just that's what I'm saying. Like how is this possible? Like it's cool that we all like to see this fight. Like uh, Virgil can really turn into a superstar after this if he wins. So that's why you don't turn down opportunities like this.
Yeah, no.
You
And
just
this is the reason,
yeah.
Dream, this is the reason why I believe that 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 Virgil Ortiz will make the weight, not only because of the handsome payment that he is to receive, win or lose, but also because this is going to be the biggest fight. Don't get me wrong. You saw how packed that the Safe Mart was, the Safe Mart arena was in Fresno. That place was packed to the gills. And in fact, I read a report earlier on that was talking about how Virgil Ortiz and Jose Ramirez might be a package deal going forward, because that combination of both of those fighters on that card sold handsomely. There was no seats left in that venue, right? And that looks so good for any fight, any promoter anywhere, because let's say that not every fight is gonna come out on TV, right? If you can pack an arena with $40, the optics of the place being packed on TV looks way better than knowing that you can watch fights taking place in Saudi Arabia and those Saudis paid $5,000. I mean, I understand the money is there. You understand the significance because there's people willing to pay thousands of dollars to have a chance to watch these guys live, but it's gonna be sparsely attended because not a lot of people are just gonna have $5,000 to dish out for seats, right? But when you pack a place and there's no wiggle room, like how these two fighters just packed up Fresno last weekend. It looks so good. I do think that Virgil Ortiz knows what's at stake. He can become a
Who you got?
star.
Who you got?
I'm just going on odds. I'm just going on odds. I think of Timmy. I think of Timmy as the Australian Canelo, and I really respect Canelo's his fighting style, his ways that he can get the job done, his power, his movement, his jab, his setup, his countering. There's so many things that I find similar in Tim Tszyu. I like how Tim Tszyu is moving with the fights that he's taking place, and I just find it that the fighters that that Richard Ortiz at middleweight has been fighting don't prepare him
Yeah,
for
he just got he just got Tim Tszyu just got punch resistance, bro. Like we seen him take punches from Brian Mendoza. Brian Mendoza got better footwork than Vergil Ortiz, but Vergil Ortiz is more like ferocious with his punches. Like he comes with punch, like he punches in bunches, you know. And yeah, I feel like Tim Tszyu is gonna be able to take those punches, bro. Like he's gonna be
Yeah.
able, like he's gonna fill him out. No Diddy, you know. And then
Oh man.
yeah,
Well,
nah. Yeah.
and so El Pachuco mentions that he likes Tim Tszyu, but he's a PBC fighter basically. The record of the PBC fighters against the world is dismal. Why does Tszyu get so much credit? Who has Tszyu fought? Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that Pachuco, that we know without question that Sebastian Fedora is a PBC fighter, and Tim Tszyu is just a contractee, right? He's a guy that the PBC promotes here in America, but otherwise we know that Fedora is a PBC fighter through and through, right? He beat Tim Tszyu. He beat the big time pay per view selling star, the South rugby stadiums over there in Arizona. So I understand that it seems that the PBC has this bad luck streak. I'm not too sure if that's a curse or otherwise, because I would never just say, "Oh, okay, this fighter is gonna lose to this fighter because he's from the PBC," and whenever the PBC crosses over, they lose. Well, because in that case, I guess we could say that Terence Crawford is a PBC fighter because the PBC worked with him on a fight or so, right? And I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I will say this: you're absolutely right. The record of PBC fighters fighting people from other promotions is absolutely dismal. To quote you, it's true. But I'm not too sure if it's because of the stagnancy of their careers or the fact that they're not taking the better level of competition that I think they are.
But I
Because in the case of Spence, he took the way better competition than Crawford at 147, and look at what happened, right? And that really throws out everything that we're saying out the water, El Pachuco. I am going off based off the odds and the record of Tim Tszyu to give him the favor on a fight against Virgil Ortiz. But guess what? If that's the way that it worked, then Errol Spence should have knocked out and beaten Crawford, but it didn't happen. So this sport is really the perfect sport because we can postulate and we can guess, but at the end of the day, not until these guys step in the ring will we find out. And that's why I
and
love what Turkey is doing.
yeah, and like Virgil's a good fighter and all, but like Mexican G says like he's not buying the Tim Tszyu hype. Look, I wasn't
Mhm.
high on the Tim Tszyu hype either, but I realized like I was looking at his resume before he fought like Mendoza, and I seen that he fought like Jeff Horn, and that was impressive too. But I think Jeff Horn is just has that style where he's like there to get hit, and it's more like a sock 'em rock 'em type of fight, and yeah, and Steve Spark is another fight where he's heavy handed, but he's there to get hit too. So same thing with Dennis Hogan. Like I've seen him fight, some UK fighters. Like he's all right, but once I seen him against Brian Mendoza, that's how I knew he was good, bro. Because he still like worked. He was still working with the dude that actually had footwork. Like I actually thought he was gonna lose to Brian Mendoza, and I was like, okay,
Mhm.
that's when I bought it because Brian Mendoza footwork is as best it can get, in the whole division. So if he can keep up with him and win some rounds against him, and he won in good fashion. Like he had him hurt a couple times, he buzzed him. I mean, and no, yeah, like he's all three judges had it for him, and it's like, dude, if you beat a dude like that tries to like outbox you, and you still end up outboxing him, and it's like, and you have the upside to like really knock somebody out if you want to fight with him inside the box and shit. So it's like, Virgil's that dude. Like he wants to fight inside the box. Like he wants to test you out. So that's why I'm a little nervous for him. Like how is he gonna react to this dude? Like to this dude's fucking heat coming. Because
Yeah, El
he can bring
Pachuco
it, bro.
reminds El Pachuco reminds us that Fondor was KO'd in his fight prior to facing Tszyu. Mendoza lost
Well,
his last fight.
well,
Ocampo was KO'd
Sebastian
by a 147 Spence.
Sebastian fought the right fight. you know, like he did what he needed to do to win this fight, and he said, "All
Yeah.
right, you're not gonna stop this fight. I'm gonna take advantage." That's what he did, bro. Like he fought the right style, and
Yeah.
that, and
Remember what I said. Tim Tszyu implements a jab, it's over. It's levels. Like, I mean, it's just going to be a whole level of complexity added on solely because Fundora decides to just use his height and reach
yeah,
advantage,
yeah, and
implementing the jab. Game
Brian
changer.
Mendoza. Brian Mendoza did a little differently. Like he tried to do it a little differently, but he would actually stop and kind of lay in the ropes. And it's like, okay, now you're letting him let you, you know. And it's like, and he doesn't have the length of Sebastian Fundora, you know.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, and he was Fundora was just staying away, like keeping that stick up. You know, he was like, all right, stay 3 feet, stay 3 feet, you know. And he
Yeah.
was winning round by round. So I was like, damn. You know, that cut
Yeah.
did play a big role. That's what I'm saying. Like I think he could have gotten the knockout though at the same time.
Yeah, the Mexican cheesesteaks, he's gonna get some push-ups in. He'll be back in a few minutes. Yeah, you know what? I'm probably gonna start doing the same thing. The Mexican. I used to be able to do 50 push-ups just a few years ago before the pandemic, and now I've had to do reps of 25 at a time, 25 at a time, and I'd like to do
I
150
gotta go
push-ups.
sleep, guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. To wrap it
All
up,
right, man.
guys, I just yeah, later dream. The homie Ricky says he's not buying into the Virgil Ortiz or Lendolfo Delgado hype. I think I am buying into the Virgil Ortiz, but not so much Lindolfo Delgado. I'm actually quite surprised that Top Rank decided to extend this contract for another few years as of today. And the homie Ricky says that the only legit fighter Robert Garcia has currently is Bam Bam Rodriguez and possibly Raymond Murataya. Um, well, the ones that are making the most noise, yeah. Uh, I don't think that I really don't think that it looked very good on Jose Ramirez this weekend to be throwing so many slapper punches. He was not turning his punches. He was slapping. He had no pop behind him. He didn't make weight. There was so many things that made him look so bad. And going what 12 rounds versus that guy, I think he did go 12 rounds. Um, it was just a bad performance from that guy. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. But Lindolfo, I thought when everybody kept talking about Lindolfo representing Mexicans and the Olympics, I thought, okay, this is the guy who is gonna break through the impression that Mexicans are just come forward, one-dimensional fighters. This guy's gonna actually have enough of a skill set, enough footwork, enough implementation of jabs and setting up of his punches in order to get that to get him out of there. And when I seen this last fight, I was like, wow, no, this guy, I don't see the special in him. But hopefully he proves us wrong now that he has an incentive to continue to win. Top Rank giving him more chances. And homie Ricky, this will be the last comment of the night. The homie Ricky wraps it up by saying, Jose Ramirez looks to be done, in my opinion. He doesn't seem that motivated, and he's too nice now. No fire in his belly and no chin. Josh Taylor took his fighting spirit. I've heard other people say that. Sad to see he was my favorite fighter. Yeah, he was. He still is a heck of a fighter. It's just that now he became just one dimensional. Just has to have the perfect reach. He has to throw a lot in close proximity, which would, of course, lead to smothering his punches. But otherwise, if he's going to try to outbox, man, he's going to get pieced apart because I don't know, he's keeping his head, the line. He's not, using levels. He's not using angles, and he's slapping his punches. Man, yeah. Jose Ramirez needs to revamp his career. El Bachuco says Robert Garcia, the night the homie Ricky's friend requests on Twitter. And Bachuco with the one-liners. Ricky, the homie Ricky, we have the best listeners, the best followers, some of the funniest highly opinionated, but absolutely brilliant listeners. We're actually very blessed, the homie Ricky and I. Ladies and gentlemen, for Warp Speed, Dream, and of course our interlocutor, the homie Ricky, we want to thank you for joining us in this here lively event where we discuss all things organized boxing and the stories of our lives. I hope you are well of health and sane of mind, but if you are not, well, join the club. I bid you adieu. Engage.